Welcome back, everyone, to Lesser Known Operators. I'm your host, Nicholas Allen, and my guest today is William Bengel, Green Beret from the 3rd Special Forces Group. He originally started out his career as a military police officer and worked his way up through the ranks of Special Forces. He is currently a Border Patrol agent living out in Texas. I'll have links to his socials in the show description. Today's episode is brought to you by the Green Beret-owned business Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley. Precision Wellness Group helps you restore balance, unlock vitality, and fuel your momentum through bioidentical hormone therapy and evidence-based personalized telemedicine. Dr. Taylor Bosley is a board-certified physician, a U.S. Army veteran, and a former Green Beret. So he knows where you've been, where you want to go, and how to get you there. And he's an actual doctor who can prescribe you actual medicine. It's a bonus. So if you have been looking into TRT, HRT, hormones, testosterone, or peptides for a while now, or just starting out, look no further than Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley in Southern Pines, North Carolina, in person and telemedicine. Use code LKO20 to save 20% on your initial consultation. We are also brought to you by Alpha Elite Performance, another Green Beret-owned business. Get your supplements for the gym at alphaeliteperformance.com. Use code LKO15 at checkout to save 15% on your order. I recommend the Pipe Hitter pre-workout and creatine. I do appreciate you guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, pass these episodes along. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. It's amateur hour over here. That's what it is. All right. William Bengel, welcome to Lesser Known Operators, man. Thanks for coming on.
Super excited to be here.
Even more excited than the first time 1 minute ago?
Right.
No. Technical difficulties. I lost a whole episode that way with not switching my mic. And the people I'm interviewing, they don't know the difference in sound from this thing to the microphone on my camera up there. But it always, no matter how many times I set this as the default, it goes to that one. And it got me once. I lost an episode, and that's crushing when it's my fault, because who am I going to blame? This guy? No, he doesn't help with anything. So I'm excited to have you on. I appreciate you, Sticky. Shout out to Sticky Green Beret, Alex. Recommendation, sending it my way. Says you got some cool stories and whatever. And I think everybody's got cool stories. They're just too afraid to pop their head up and tell them. So I don't know how you feel about that.
Everybody's got good stories. I mean, it's always good to give back to the community. And I think some of the podcasts have been helping, like we're talking about before, people struggle with different things. I know I struggled when I was getting out of the Army. I mean, I did it for 27 years. That was my whole life, and what do you do after the military? So I think the podcast helped to give people options in life.
Yeah. And God, 27 years, that's a long time, man. I mean, people do murder stretches for a lot less time than that. I mean, 27 years is a long time. And, everybody starts out at 3. I'm only going to do 3. I'm going to get out or something, join for college, join because they got no other options. It's like 3. And then I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, here we are, time to retire. And it goes by like that. I mean, I did 8 years, and I'm like, fuck, where did the time go? I think about it, and it just seems like it went by so fast. And I've been out now 8 years, and I'm like, man, that feels like it's been 8 years since I've been out. It's just forever. And when I was in, it was 5 minutes, and I didn't take any pictures. And I assume, based on when you came in, you didn't take any pictures either.
There was no cell phones or nothing. My first trip, I went to Haiti, and you were still writing letters home on an MRE, back of an MRE, and you gave it in the box, and they mailed it off. There was no phone calls. There was no text. There was no sat phones. There was nothing.
Just hope for the best. Hey, I'm going on this trip. I'll be back when I get back.
But like you said, it's interesting how you say 27 years and people just come in. I enlisted, was just going to do 5 years. I got done with high school. I'm like, man, I'm not going to college. I'm partying too much. So let's go with the military. My brother was in the Air Force as a security police. I was like, well, I'm going to be a cop. So I said, I'll do an MP for 5 years, get all my stuff ready, mature, and then I'll go and become a cop somewhere. But then a full circle, after 27 years, I get out, and then back doing border patrol, so I'm back in law enforcement. So kind of took me a long time to get to where thought I was going to be when I was 18, but like you said, it goes quick and opportunities arise. And I think when special forces came up, that's where I wanted to be in life.
Or it was MP the whole time, your subconscious, and you're just like, I'm just going to take a break and go be a Green Beret for a little bit. And then I'm going to go
Right.
back to mama, and be an MP on the border riding a horse.
Right.
Uh, which, I mean, okay, border patrol, you see the news and you're like, whatever. Yeah, they're just down there in the heat, just suffering and whatever they're doing. Because I don't know. I mean, I have an idea, but I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not around, taking care of the horses and going around and rounding people up and stuff like that. I don't know. But the horse part, that sounds pretty fucking cool. Like,
That's pretty
just from
awesome.
growing up on a farm and just being around horses and like, yeah, people can be one way, but man, that horse can't talk. It's like a big dog. It's your friend, and you just get to hang out with your friend all day and just ride around. And is it pretty nice where you're at?
Well, that's what I tell people. It's just a big dog, but it's surreal. I mean, it helped me out. My wife tells me helps me out. Like I said, 20 years, I think 6 or 7 combat trips. Who's counting anymore? You know, everybody has TBIs and different things. I have a horse at home, it's a retired horse that because we have horses when they're done with their service, we retire them, we take them home. So I do therapy with him. My wife's like, "Hey, you're stressed out. Go outside, feed your horse, talk to him, and do stuff." But no, the horse patrol, it's the patrol is interesting in the fact that when you sign up, no matter where you sign up, you got to go back to training. It's 6 months, and it's just basic training. You get off the bus, they're yelling at you. They're doing all the regular basic training. You go to your classes, you're marching around, shining your boots, and doing all that. And then you get to your station, and it starts all over. You're the brand new guy. You got to go 2 weeks of orientation and different stuff, and then you ride around with senior guys and learn it. And then after 3 years of all that, and then you can try out for special units. I mean, we have drones, we have ATVs, we have horses, you have BORTAC, BORSTAR, which are the guess SWAT teams or the special teams. But now being on a horse is it's surreal. I mean, the whole thing is the whole border. People don't know how big it is. It depends on which sector you are. Some can be right up on the city, right?
It's this big on Google Maps. I checked
Yeah,
it
it's that big.
before when I was looking because I'm doing a road trip and I went, man, we're border. I mean, it's
Yeah,
only this big. It depends on where you hold your hand in relation to your face in the screen, but yeah, you start driving around the country, you realize how
it's
big this
surreal. I
place
mean,
actually.
you can see like El Paso. You go down to what is it, Bliss over there, and it's right there against it. And you can see the border wall. You can see them jumping and people running. But then you go, and the United States is so big. There's still areas that are not. And then the patrol's interested too. Once you do the application process and you're finished it all, they'll call you up and like, hey, okay, these are your options right now. You have 24 hours to answer us, and they give you all the stations you have. It used to be one, but sometimes it's more. Depends on where you need it. And you're like, I've never heard of any of these places. So I went through the list. I didn't want to go back to California. And I was like, okay, Texas and all this. My wife was to Texas, and they gave me names of places. Like, okay, 24 hours, I'll get back. So the cool part is they had a recruiter on Fort Bragg. So I went and talked to him, and I was like, hey, where's Alpine, Texas? Where's Eagle Pass? Where are these places? And I got stationed at Carrizo, like, hey, where's Carrizo Springs? And they're like, you don't want to go here and this one. And they're like, well, that one's close to San Antonio, is how I picked my area, but you'll never hear these. And even with ours, we're 60 miles from Carrizo when we go out to the field. Sometimes in different areas, it takes us an hour to get out to where we're patrolling the border. So it's just endless ranches, different ones. It depends on which sector. Like if you ever been out to Yuma, people have been to Halo School. Yuma's out in the middle of nowhere. That's the whole border there too. People are patrolling that, but it's just straight desert. So we get up at regular shifts at 6, depends on which shift you're doing, 10 hours, 6 o'clock, but we get up. We have formation at 6, and then we have to spend an hour of getting the horse ready. We have the guy that feeds the horse. He has to come in at 5 in the morning. He feeds the horses to make sure they're all good. None of them beat each other up. I mean, they're pack animals. we let them out overnight, but they have a pecking order. It's just like being on a team. You have the team sergeant. So, well, the horses have the same thing. And it's weird that people don't understand. Like the head horse, he gets to walk in first to go into the stall and eat, and then so on through the pecking order. So it's just like being on a team with the horses. And then, like you said, you're out there just riding. We'll get a call, we'll get a sighting, or we're just looking at dirt and we see different signs, and then we just start working from till we capture them. And some horses are really cool. Some are just like you said, dogs. Some are into it, some are not. Some are smart and they understand. Hey, I catch the bad guy, I get to go back to the trailer and take a break. So, but to me, it's the coolest thing when they offered. I was like, that's pretty cool because, as I tell the younger people, when are you ever going to get to go ride a horse and get paid for it just to wander off, and just do stuff? I mean, you have people like I work cows and stuff. I was like, yeah, cows are cool and it's cool, but do you ever chase someone with a brain? I mean, cow just runs, you chase him a rope and he's done. A human, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I guess an escalation in the complexity of the job, I suppose, is. But there's inherent danger involved in that as well, too. And what are you willing to accept? I, the cow. There's a lot of situations there with a person you say can do whatever you want, and they've got a plan too. So it's whatever you're willing to put yourself in whatever level of danger and
I mean,
acceptable with.
some are coming across for a better life. I mean, there's drugs, there's all kinds of arterial motives of why they're coming. I mean, it's here or there, but you said you never know what they're going to do. They're hiding and doing stuff. I mean, some of the hardest parts is people to understand. I'm controlling this horse, but he's 1,500 pounds. You stop running in front of me, jump down. I got to stop him, or sometimes you got to jump over him because the horse, he doesn't react that quick. He's just doing what he's trained to do. So it's a fun time, but it can be different. I mean, you can get thrown off. I mean, it's interesting.
Do do the horses have ranks just like in the military? That we used to
No,
have, like the goat at Fort Sill was a sergeant, and the horse was like a lieutenant or some shit like that.
no, we buy
Okay.
them and retire them. I wish they did. The dogs have different ranks, but the horses don't. It's a whole different program when they have ranks amongst themselves. Like I said, it's like being on a team, so they know the pecking order, you know. But no, it's a cool partner to have though. I mean, there's nothing like riding up and like we go to events too and people still are intrigued, like, oh, you guys have horses? Well, yes, it's 1924 when the board first started. It was just a guy that came to work with his horse in a trailer, you know. Now we have technology, like I said, we have the drones, ATVs and all that, but
Yeah, drone
it's a
camp.
better, I don't know. It's better to me to be on a horse than an ATV. I mean, the ATV can do some stuff, but it can't do what a horse can do.
There's a lot more natural sound profile as well, moving across the desert. Um, well, what does patrol mean, and what does that all encompass in it?
Well, we do checkpoints. I mean, just patrolling the borders, you're just securing. We do in between the ports of entry because you have the port of entry where customs is. They wear the green or the blue uniform. We have the green ones, so we just do it in between there, and we're just making sure nobody's coming illegal. Like people to understand that you have to come in through a port of entry. It's just like going to your house. You have to come in and present yourself, and then be invited in. So there's taxes and all kinds of stuff that are involved in it. But we're just patrolling in between. I mean, since we became Homeland, the terrorists, different things. So we're just making sure who needs to be here. I mean, as a U.S. citizen, you can't be denied entry into America, but it's still you have to I forgot what it's called. Say that you have money, you have to
Declare.
yeah declare all your goods. That's what it is. So you can't just come through anywhere because then if you let people come through anywhere, they're not declaring, hey, that I'm bringing alcohol in, so we get taxes on that. So, like in law class, they explain. So let's say I have an alfalfa field on this side. and they're charging $10 to get the alfalfa and stuff, but then I can go over to Mexico and get it for $5. Then you just drive across and buy all his products, and then America's not getting any money from it. But then how does America know that there's not bugs or anything through it? So that's why there's a port of entry. You have to declare your goods so we can do taxes and make it fair. Because if you don't do it, people talk about free trade. Well, it's not free trade now because now I'm just going to go over to that guy and get everything for cheap because he doesn't have the labor and none of the stuff. So we're patrolling for that and just patrolling for people, drugs. We have the checkpoints that check for people.
Yeah, there's got to be. It's going through even like the Q course, right? We're like, I'm going to be a Green Beret. And then, well, oh, you're in the Q course. I don't know what the fuck that means. And then you get to group and you go, like, hey, you got to do all this other shit too. I imagine going through the process of becoming an agent. Are you guys agents?
Yes, we're federal agents.
Become federal agents. Becoming an agent, you've got to have, I'm going to be an agent. And then they sit you down and give you the full list of all the shit that you're doing. You're not just chasing people down in the desert, right? You're preventing A through Z of all the things that could happen. What are some things that stood out to you that you weren't aware of that you guys did and do?
So when I got there and we're doing, because you got to do Spanish and all these classes, and my Spanish instructor was real good, and we're talking. He's like, "Man, you're old. What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just needed a job. This sounded cool." And it was like, you pull people over. I was like, "What?" Yeah, we got to get in the. You can pull people. I was like, I didn't know we pulled people over. And a lot of people don't understand that either. If an agent gets behind you and we have our blue lights on, we can pull you over. And people are like, "Hey, you can't pull me over." Yeah, I'm doing an immigration instead. I'm trying to check your status and see are you a U.S. citizen and what you're doing. And all I just need is reasonable suspicion to check and see if you have drugs or there, if you're smuggling and so on. But no, I didn't know that we are going to be driving around just regular roads and pull people over. I was like, what? I thought we are just going to be on the border and you're just looking for people. But that
Is
that
that
stood
like
out.
an entry level thing?
Huh?
Is that like the newer guys are kind of doing that, or seasoned guys doing that as well?
No, everybody does it.
Everybody?
So you go like each sector has how big they're like. Not every sector has horses. Not every sector has ATVs. So it just depends on how big your area is. You know, so your station could be under a sector. It's not like down in Brownsville, Texas. It's in very tip. It's just a border town. It's both sides, so they don't have many field like work where you go out there and do stuff. So they have people patrolling left and right and pulling people over because you see vehicles. We have checkpoints that you go through and check stuff, but you still have vehicles that have to do the side road because they'll bypass them. So you're still pulling over vehicles and checking. And we can still do felonies. So the police departments will call if there's a shooting. Like in Uvalde, they did the shooting there, and all the agents went up there. So, but yeah, normally, I mean, if I'm driving out to the field and I see a suspicious vehicle that doesn't belong there, I pull them over and I got to check them just to see why. Because some roads just lead out to the middle of nowhere. Like we know where it goes. Like there's a ranch, and we know all the kind of rancher's truck. But you see like a Kia Sport going out down this dirt road. Why is this Kia Sporter? So you pull them over like, hey, what are you doing? You lost one or two. What are you doing here? And half the time, well, I had a kid tell me once, I'm just going around taking pictures of lakes. There ain't no lakes in this area. So then you figure out he's there to pick up people or pick up drugs.
Yeah, you'll probably pick on that up on that real fast because what sounds like reasonable to somebody making up an excuse is ridiculous to somebody that knows the area. Like, oh,
And that's the thing. They try to tell stories, and half the time I'm like, what do you think I was born yesterday? I mean, come on. I know why you're here. And we're not upset a lot of the times. More of the thing we're concerned about. You're there to pick up, but these people have been walking for days, and they're out there. And we tell you to leave. Well, tell us where they're at because they're going to die of dehydration or something, and then it's on you. But again, a lot of them don't care. They're there for the money, but that's what we're more concerned. I mean, people think we're out there just being crazy now. We're out there trying to find them so they don't die and different things happen. I mean, there's snakes, we have mountain lions, there's all kinds of stuff out there, you know. we need to get them to safety and get them help, and then you go back to your country. I mean, there's people trying to do asylum, that's fine, but there's port of entries. There's a way to do the right paperwork, you know? There's always a process, and that's what I tell people. I'm not upset to you. There's a process. You just follow the process and you'll be fine, but you can't just come in and we don't know who you are.
Does that ever get you in a situation where you go, "Ah, man, I don't really don't wanna deal with this. I'm just gonna call the locals and hand this off here because this is dumb."
Mm, everybody I work with, I mean, they're super professionals. It's like being on the team. There's always senior people. There's a lot of people that have been doing it for a while. A lot of them are motivated kids and stuff. So, but no, I mean, I only had one instance is where a guy tried to insult me and said I wasn't a real cop. I was like, okay, you're right. I'm not a real cop. I'll just call the local police. He'll come down. He'll talk to you. He didn't have a driver's license. He didn't have insurance, so they gave him a ticket and towed his car. And all I wanted to know is like, why are you here? I know why you're here to pick up. I know the area. This is where the group and people are coming usually get picked up. Just tell me why. Leave. You got no charges because I can't prove that there's illegals or anybody here. So you didn't do a felon, but you disrespected me. So then I'll call the locals and then they'll deal with you that because we can write statements that they helped us. But now, most of the time people get it or leave. But now a lot of guys like doing the work and paperwork. And there's the paperwork part that's just part of the job. You know, it's like when a cop gets a DUI, he has to do all the paperwork. You get a load of people, you got to do all the paperwork, impound the vehicle, and do all that. So there's paperwork side of it. I mean, no one like makes it do it. I mean, it's nicer if DPS takes them all and does it, then we can go back out and doing it. But no one minds it. No one just calls them on purpose.
That's a pretty terrible plan, is no license, no registration out, and then insult the officer and go, "Ah, this'll be fine." That's a terrible plan of attack for the day.
Just like when we were working in Afghanistan, all of that. I mean, you're going in the village. Hey, would you like to be a fighter today? Yeah, sure, man. Just give me an AK. Where's the bad guys? Go that way and shoot at them. Okay. I mean, that's the same thing that social media, they call them, say, hey, you want to make a easy $1,000. You just go to out here in the middle of nowhere and we'll give you $2,000 or whatever it is for that day to pick up two people. And they're like, okay, it sounds fine. You know,
Is that's a real scenario, I assume, then, of what you just described.
right. I mean, people, there's calls all the time. People they don't understand and they don't understand it. To them, it's not really illegal. You're just giving a ride. I mean, I had a guy once that came through and we had him at the station doing paperwork and he had illegals in the back. And we're like, so what's going on? His story was, so I stopped to get out to check my tires and get some Gatorade out of the trunk and they just jumped in my car and I was going to take him to town. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't let anybody in my car. But yeah, I mean, they have like, I don't know, what is it, Craigslist and stuff. There's sites where you can just say, "Hey, you wanna pick up people for a couple dollars, $100, whatever it is?" People are like, "Yeah, easy money. I'll go pick someone up and
Uber.
take them to the city."
It's the wave of the future, man.
I mean, people don't people don't think through there's consequences, and a lot of people don't understand there's consequences to it. I mean, a lot of them do rental cars, so they don't get their car impounded. The rental car has to come get it. Because a fun fact, if you get your car taken by us, it's our car. You don't get it back because it was used in a felony and stuff. So usually they take it up to the sector and they either sell them or whatever they do. But you don't just to come back and say, "Hey, can I have my car back?" Even if they don't charge you, not it was used. You know, it's evidence.
Mm. Stay in school, kids. Stay in
Yeah.
school. So
Don't do
what's your
drugs. I
guys'
mean,
of
drugs are bad.
yeah, drugs are bad, kids. How far down the chain do you go? Because 'Cause you're the initial point of contact in this whole crime chain or crime, uh, story, right? So you guys are the initial. Are you handing off to somebody or is it all internal? You guys are working with, in your department, or is there other people that you kind of, okay, we do this, and then other people
So it
take
all
care of the
goes to
rest?
ICE. HSI and ICE get it after us. So once we do the paperwork, we're like the intake. Like you go to get a DUI, the patrol agent or the officer gets you and he takes you to the station, and then they intake you, and then they put you either in the county jail or whatnot. We're the initial. We get you, we intake you, we do all the paperwork. And then after that, depends on if we're going to release you or if we're going to return you. But then it goes to ICE, and then they do all the paperwork. So we're just at the bottom. I mean, we still have investigators and different stuff, but once we do the paperwork, then it goes on through there. It has to go through prosecutions, and prosecutions decide what they want it. So each area has a district attorney, and he decides if he's going to go on cases. If not, but if it's just illegal, then you just do the paperwork. And then after that, it depends on if ICE wants to put him in jail, whatnot. I mean, it's still the flavor of the month on that, of what we're doing. Like with the Haitians, they wanted to let someone in. So the United States, I think, has like 1 million people that they can let in with just proper paperwork. And then we have our little system of how many people and different things of bed space they have. So it just depends on that. But they move on to HSI or ICE after that.
Okay. And how long you been doing this?
6 years now.
And you just started because you thought it sounded cool and fun?
So so I got out in 2019. I retired. I was doing my retirement stuff. So my plan was to make sergeant major. Like, so I got my master's degree. I did all the schools, and then the Army's like, "Oh, we're going to change the retention thing, lower it down. So you've been in too long. It's time to get out." I was like, "Okay, fine. I'll retire." So I was sitting there, started doing 3-gun and was doing shooting. And I started building guns, and I was sitting around the house in my underwear a lot, just building guns. I'm like, "What the?" My wife's like, "What are you doing? You're spending too much money shooting. You got to get a job." So I was like, "Okay." So I went to some job fairs, and I went up and I showed all these people my resumes. I got this, I got my master's degree, I did all this. "Well, you need this certification to do this job. You need this one." I was like, Jesus. So then they have briefings, and I saw the Secret Service. "You're too old. You're too old." I was like, Jesus. The Border Patrol did a briefing, and I sat in there, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we'll take any age. This is the cap, but you can do the veterans program." So the veterans program is cool with the patrol. You can get out anytime, and I think it's 1 or 2 years after you get out, you can just go and apply. So if you have your top secret, you don't have to do the polygraph. You don't have to do the PT test because you have one, so you just have to do the medical. Um, if you have law enforcement different experience, you don't even have to take their little admittance test. You just go into a GS9. So I was like, "Well, these guys sound cool." So I talked to the guy, and they did a little meet and greet after at one of the NCO clubs where they're all talking. And I was talking to the guy. It's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "Well, I get up in the morning, we do muster, they give me some keys, and I drive around the desert looking around." I was like, "Man, that sounds like what I did in Afghanistan, but it just got more autonomy because you're just a lone guy. Once you're working on the unit by yourself, they give the keys and they give you your area, and you just drive around and looking for illegals instead of bad guys." And I was like, "Oh, sign me up." And then I was on terminal leave, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to go in November?" I was like, "Well, I'm still in. I don't go on terminal till January." Like, "Okay, January." So I did terminal leave, and I was at the academy getting paid twice. So I was like, "Well, they like old people. I'm there."
What's the difference in age? I mean, are you
So
in
I
with
was
people in their
46 when
22?
I went. So most of them were from 18 till 20 something.
Hmm. Okay. Yep. I mean, double.
Because the patrol, you you have to do 20 or 25 years, depends on when you're coming in, but you cap out in the Border Patrol at 57 years unless you're got a waiver. You came in. So when I came in at 46, I can only do less than 10 years in. So yeah, like I was
You got
teaching kids how to
retirement.
shine their boots and iron their uniforms, and we're marching around. It's basic training. They're like, I was having fun, but I'm like, man. Then another fun part of the academy is so you do all the running and stuff, and I'm doing good. I'm having fun doing it all. We were doing one of the little infiltration courses where you run around, you get shot at the paintballs and do the move and communicate kind of thing. Well, I slid into one of the barriers and I snapped my ankle. I heard it pop in my mask, but I was like, I'm fine. I stood up and I fell down. I was like, I'm not fine. But if you go to sick call and you do all that stuff and they send you to the hospital, then you have to go back to your station and wait 6 months until you're healed and you got to start over. Well, I was only less than a month from taking the PT test and being done. So I never went to the doctor. I was like, I'm fine. I just went up to the thing and did the physical therapy. And then I came back the next Monday and the lady's like, okay, if you can hop on it, you're good. And I said, so how high do I have to hop? And she's like, just hop. I was like, okay. So I did physical therapy in the morning and lunch and evening. And then I ran the PT test with it. And then after graduated and all that, didn't do nothing. Then I came home to North Carolina before we moved. And me and my wife did a 4 mile run. And they were like, well, let's just go to the hospital and check it. So I went into the VA doctor, like, your ankle's broken. You can't walk out of here. Here's a cast. And I was like, okay, I won't be doing any of this. But no,
Didn't
it's a good time, but it's a huge age gap.
you didn't learn anything from documenting your service or taking care of your injuries or anything getting out?
Oh,
None of
I did
those
all that. I
ACAPing
got my
briefs.
100%.
No,
It's
I know,
just
but none of those briefings went, you make sure you document your stuff, and then you get out and go, yeah, I'm not going to document this. Fuck that.
it's just the Green Beret. And I mean, you got the stigma, and then everybody's looking, and they already knew who I was because they're like asking how old and all that, and they can. So, and then I can't let people down, So you have these young
I
kids
mean, you're,
looking at you, and you're like, oh yeah, no, it was bad, but not that bad that you can't continue on. I mean,
I guess it depends. It depends what, there's a lot of bones in your foot and things like that. But
it was
what
just a
was,
little hairline. It
what
wasn't.
was everybody's perception of you going through that? Because there couldn't have been a lot of other special operations guys that had been in for 27 years going through in the same class.
No, I mean, I don't know if I was the oldest. I mean, most of the people, I'm the oldest that they met. All of my other classmates were super cool. I mean, had no problem, made good friends. I mean, I just laugh that, you're thinking this hard, and I'll be like, this, I'm 46 and I'm past you doing this. None of this is hard. There's no reason to be quitting. You're going to get a 3-figure paycheck after this. You're
Three
working at
figures?
HEB.
It's like 3 figures is not very much. 6 figures, you mean?
Yeah, six.
Okay.
$100,000 or what? Yeah, six figures is pretty good, coming
Six
from
is
like
good.
HEB.
Three is bad. Three's
Yeah,
bad. I
three
don't
is
think you're
bad.
going to have very high retention rates at three.
Six. I mean, math's not mathing. But now you're at HEB where you're making maybe 30,000. You work at the supermarket, you're making what, 50, 30,000 a year? You're doubling that.
Hey, as I said before we started recording, I'm in a 3-figure salary right now, and it's brutal. I'm trying to do this sort of thing and sitting in my basement with my dog interviewing you, and I'm having a blast. I never made so little money and had such a good time. So it's interesting how
It's a
things
good
work
life.
out.
I mean, again, if you're a regular guy, it's autonomy. I mean, if people are trying to get out of the military, they don't know what they want to do. It's a good job. It's structured like the military. I mean, you have to start over again. But again, you get up in the morning, you do your little morning formation from your 10 hours after that. You create your own adventure. I mean, you have your vehicle, you get calls, you get 911 calls and different ones, but you still have a huge area. I mean, depends on your sector. You have over 10,000 square miles that you're patrolling. You just make your own adventure, which one you want. I mean, they have different areas you get locked into. But like this year, we're getting what, a $50,000 bonus. I think next month or so they're going to give us 20,000 already. You can do overtime. We're doing 10-hour shifts, but you can do an 8-hour shift you want. but you can still do overtime. I mean, I'm clearing, I don't know, maybe what, 6,000 a month, and that's without doing overtime. I don't like to do Sundays and everything. So going from the military, and then you still have your thrift savings you can save all your money in. So to me, it's a good life. The only downfall I would say is, yeah, you got to go back through basic training for 6 months. If you're not very good at Spanish, you got to learn a language, but the Spanish will come.
And you got to pass a polygraph.
The polygraph was fun. I mean, but yes, the new chief of the patrol's changing it, but yes, you have to pass a polygraph. I mean, there's nightmare stories about it. It is what it is. It's a polygraph, you know? People are all scared of it. I went in, took it, had fun. It was because I didn't have my top secret because I was working at Robin Sage, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to give you a top secret now. You guys don't need it. We're not wasting the money." But again, if you have your top secret or something, you don't even have to do the poly. So all people have to do is just go on USA Jobs and then do the VRA for the patrol. I mean, the same thing with ICE. ICE is given $50,000 for signing, and you go through the veterans program. You just go on there, look for a VRA. You don't even have to do most of the stuff. Like I said, you send them your PT card. If you have a top secret, you don't have to do the poly. And even if you do, I don't think they're as hard in the military. Like most bases have recruiters. I know when I was at Bragg, they had two recruiters. They had customs, they had border patrol. I know we're sending people over to the other one in Texas, the other post in Texas, the one they just renamed. Yeah, they have recruiters over there at Hood too. So if someone it's just like SF recruiters, you just got to go talk to one and they'll explain what's going on. But no, I mean, to me, it's fun. I mean, I do drones now. I did drones when I was in the patrol. I was flying the Raven stuff, and then the patrol started doing it, and I put in my little memo because you have to do it in paperwork to do it. I got my 107. I got my pilot's license for a drone, and I've been flying it. And every time a new system comes out, I put in class to go to that. But we have drones. As I said before, you have ATVs. You can go around, drive them. I mean, like at one point, we're driving Raptors. They have Jeeps. They have all kinds of vehicles. But there's so much you can do. If you can do checkpoint if you like that. You can do processing, just paperwork. We have prosecutions where you go help the lawyers. I mean, there's investigators. People think the patrol is just one. It's like group. There's so many different jobs. There's so many different teams, you know. And I told one of my old captains, being in the border patrol is like the closest thing you're going to get to being on a team, you know. Not on the line, but if you get into specialty, I mean, in my horse patrol unit, it's only 18 of us, you know. But on a given shift, people's days off, there's 12 of us. We ride around in a truck with four dudes looking out for each other and kind of the same thing, motivated. You walk a lot if you're going to be tracking without a horse. I mean, you can track a group for a whole day, 10 hours just walking behind them, 10 miles, 12 miles, just depends on how good they are at evading you. But it's a fun time. It's just like going through on the opposite side of Sierra School where you're looking for the guy evading, you know? But they use the same networks, you know, like if you remember in Robert Sage, they have their transportation unit, they have their underground, they have their auxiliary, they have all the same stuff, you know. They have safe houses they're putting in, you know. They're trying all these different techniques. I mean, I think they have drones they fly. So it's a fun time.
Operating inside the United States as well, you know. So all that time operating on out and about in the world as a
Right.
GB, and now you're putting some of those skills to use here at home.
The only thing
You
I wished I
you
was
said,
younger, meaning if I would have started
well,
younger,
that's
then but
you can wish all you want. You're not going to fix
right.
that one. That one's not going to help at all. You said 20 in your horse patrol. How big's this operation as a whole? I mean, you said you're pretty spread out, obviously along the border, but it can't be that.
So
I mean,
each sector
government
is
loves to spend money on stuff.
so the patrol's broken down into sectors. I'm in the Del Rio sector. Next to us is Laredo sector. So there's the sector just depends on how it is. So the whole border all the way through, like you have El Paso, so and then Yuma, and then California has different sectors. So it just depends on which area. So we're on the southern. We have a southern horse patrol and a northern horse patrol. And there's 20 of us on this unit with the two people in charge, and then the other one has like 10 or so. But we have our cities are Carrizo Springs, Uvalde, Eagle Pass, and then part of Laredo. So I guess in a reference, it's almost as big. You know, we had Pineland, and you had Northern Pineland and Southern Pineland.
Yeah.
It's broken down like the same way. That's our whole area that we patrol. So anywhere we're called in an area, we have the autonomy as a horse patrol unit to go anywhere. Like a regular agent, he's told, like one of the big ranches in Texas is the Briscoe Ranch. They're patrolling that area, but we can go anywhere in the whole area, wherever the traffic and different stuff that's going on. But just depends on your sector. It's just how big. I mean, the Briscoe Ranch is second or third biggest ranch in Texas, and we work his whole ranch. So it's just miles.
And
Like I
just
said,
freedom
40
of
miles
movement.
is how a lot of them travel just to get to the city or a pickup. I mean, depends on which route they take. They can walk 40, 60 miles. And they do different patterns. So on a bad day, I guess we can ride 10 hours, 8 hours. It just depends on. I mean, we get picked up because the only problem is like you have the cattle guards in different ranches. So not each ranch has access to other ones. So we have the horse trailer close to us. And if we get to somewhere we can't go, he has to pick us up and drop us off ahead. But we still drop off a person, a walker or something that stays on the trail of them walking. But I think we've had groups that other people caught like a day later. We'll start them one day and they just keep following them. And then we change shifts and they follow them to the next day. It just depends on where you're at and how far they're going to walk.
From the way you're describing it, there seems to be no shortage of business. Like, is this like a fishing thing where you go out and you don't catch anything, or is it just you're catching instead of fishing?
It's just hide and seek every day. Just to whoever's the best at hide and seek. There's some real criminals who are really good at hide and seek, and there's some they're not, and there's some that they just throw out there for the fun of it to catch. But after the election, it went down. We had weeks that there wasn't. It's picking up again. It just depends. They're doing like counter uh, surveillance on us. You know, they've seen what we're going to do after election and how we're going to do, and then they're probing us to see where they can do stuff. Like the walls getting put up in our area, they're building that again, so that's slowing them down because they're trying to see. But it just depends. I mean, I think the most we caught in 1 month was 700 people, just our unit, 700 people. And then after this election, I think we went weeks without it. So I think this month or last month, I think we're almost up to 12 or so a month. So it just depends on, again, they're just probing and seeing what America's going to do, how they're dealing with the immigration spot.
Adjusting to the conditions and the standards
And the weather
and
has to do with it. I mean, it's hot as shit still in Texas right now. I mean, it's starting to cool off, but this summer was pretty brutal. You know, it just
every summer
depends
in
on.
Texas is brutal. Every summer is awful. It's March comes around and it's just awful, and then it's October and it's just slightly awful. Yeah,
I
the
mean, I'm
whole
just
thing's
waiting
terrible.
to felt hat season so I can wear my felt cowboy hat because it's still strong, even though everybody else has got felts on. But it's yeah, I mean, it just depends. I mean, it gets hot and then they don't want to do it. It snows. It just depends on what's going on.
I guess with you're older, you got more perspective, a lot more experience. You probably get a lot less frustrated than the people you're working with.
Yes, it's so that's why I have a lot of fun. Like coming in, it was you still got to pay your dues on everything, but I have the autonomy in my life is you see these young kids coming into work, you know, they have to be there. They're going to get in trouble and it's their livelihood. I got yelled at a couple times. I was like, whatever. I don't know why you're yelling at me. I really don't need this job. I can go home today. You know, so I'm not as stressed. And like you said, with the maturity and level, I mean, you know, people yell at people like, oh my God, that guy yelled at me to get in trouble. I don't really give a crap. I mean, you're going to yell at me or illegal's going to yell at me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You mean I've been yelled at by better people than you. Yeah.
Badder and better people, yeah.
So again, it's a fun job, but there can be stressors. I mean, they're moving you down to the border, and if you're from a northern area, it's a big culture shock. I mean, you grew up in Michigan or whatnot, and then you move down to Texas. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You don't have any family. You don't speak the language. It's a whole different food. Then you're going to work, and you're getting it from work, so it could be stressful. But no, coming in as being it was fun. Like I put in for the drone program. I flew it before I put my resume in, and the older guy put it in there, but he didn't want to take the 107 test. And then I took it, and it's a difficult test. I passed it, but again, with being on a Halo team and understanding maps, it wasn't that bad. And I told another guy I knew, hey, it's you got to study. No, I'll be good. Then he failed it because they don't understand that there is hard tests that you don't just get stuff because you're senior and you've been in the patrol. Like when I got on horse patrol, I was blessed because a lot of people were doing different things, and I just barely had 3 years and put in, and I made it. But then there were people like, "Oh, you're already in horse patrol. You don't have enough time in the patrol to do this." Well, I get what you're saying, but I'm 46. I've did 27 years of government service. It's not like I just got 3. You're seeing the 3, but some of the supervisors and people don't see that. But other agents are seeing it like, "Oh, why did he get to do stuff and I didn't?" Well, put in, but again, you don't have the maturity or time.
See this gray in the beard here? Yeah. That's or like the calluses on the hand, like, shut the fuck up.
Well, they
I
don't
I
understand. It's a seniority-based
no. No,
organization,
I
you
get
know?
it, yeah.
I'm
And
senior than you, but
that all
are
goes
are you
away too.
smarter than me? And that's the problem, and that's another downfall. The patrol is really good, but again, it's senior-based. It's like being on a team with a senior guy, but you earn that position. The patrol, you just have to stay there. I mean, I can be in the patrol for 20 years and never do anything, but I'm senior. I'm gonna get the holidays and everything off. Doesn't mean but you don't get the respect. You can see the guys that get the respect, just like on teams. That guy's a PT stud. That guy knows his shit. That guy's just been here. So there's guys that they awe me all the time. I watch them track a group. They go out there like, hey, you see that? That's a kicked over rock. No, they went through and like, God damn, I guess you're right. And then we find their group. But there's other people that are just there for a paycheck. It's a civilian job. Like I said, it pays a lot of money. So you're going to have the people there for the paycheck and the people that want. I mean, we have guys that don't want to quit, and I'm like, hey man, we're gonna catch them, we can catch them, but there's another shift. And I like to ask one of the guys, if you're at 80 or 90%, I'll stay and work. But if you're under, we're not gonna catch them. Let the next people do it. I get his mentality doesn't want this person to get away, but sometimes you gotta say, hey, I gotta go home to my family. And that's
Yeah, the
that's to
work
me,
is
that's
going to
another
be
big
there
bonus
later.
for the patrol too, is when people do deployments, you're just gone, your family's put the patrol's good that at least I get to come home every night. And I think that's a bonus. People are like, oh, are you happy? Shoot. I get to go home every night, weekends, I get days off. I can call in sick. This is pretty awesome. There's no sick days when you're in combat.
No, and if you're in the wrong kinda unit, going to sick call is frowned upon as well. So,
And the
regular
patrol
army,
starts
some
that.
bullshit.
The patrol does that when you start, but once you learn the system, I'm like, whatever, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's a mental health
Again, that
day.
maturity goes in there too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That I like to answer your question. That's all it is. I mean, I have my life. I have everything set. This is just. And I had one guy tell me, "Oh, people don't like you because you tell them this is your retirement job. It is my retirement job. You know, I'm still putting down. I'm still riding horses. I'll still chase. I'm still down to do anything. But this is my retirement job. You don't understand." And my son explained it to me real well. You used to do a really hard job with all this stress, deployed and all this stuff. This job's easy to you. I can do this in just standing on my head. It's not that hard of a job. And you go in, you get your keys, you go look for bad guys, you look for dirt, you find it, you capture them, you do your paperwork, you go home. It's cut and dry. If you don't want to do anything, then yeah, you just stay in the office and you work on a computer. It's an easy job. They're gonna pay you either way.
You said come in at 6 for formation. Is there, Are you guys overlapping shifts, or is there
So we
like a
have, yeah,
busy time that
we
you
have
that
3
you're
shifts. You have a
staffed up?
days, a swings, and a
Okay.
mids, so they all overlap. So I just say 6 because I enjoy the days. They put me on mids, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is no fun." I mean, as a young kid, the mid shift would be good because there's no management around. You get paid a little bit more money, and you're working in the dark, and it's easier to do stuff in the dark. But if you want any kind of a social life, no, midnight sucks balls. I mean, if you're a young kid again, yeah, I'm just sleeping all day and I'm partying. It's an easy life. But if you have kids, you're getting off shift, and you're not getting home till 8 or whatnot, however the shifts are overlapping. You're not seeing your
Is there
family,
a
you're sleeping.
is there a busier time, any of the shifts?
Um, no, not really. I mean, if you don't like the heat, mids is good because it's still hot. The sun's not out.
I mean, busier
Swings is
customer-wise.
again, they probe. I mean, it just depends on what the cartel. Again, it depends on your area and how far they're going to want. Because we have groups that go through the midnight shift, and then the day shift we pick them up. So sometimes they want to sleep during the day. To me, it just depends on how you want it. But no, I don't like. There usually sometimes there's busy days of the week, but again, the way we operate, let's say if you put more people working on Wednesday, well, the bad guys are not stupid. They can see that there's more people working. They have people spotting all over the country, They know when you're doing stuff. So,
It's gotta fuck with some people, though. It probably doesn't fuck with you because you're used to somebody sitting on the side of a mountain with a radio watching you as well. But being here in the States, having a criminal network set up, keeping tabs on where you're going to and from, that's gotta fuck with some people.
a lot of kids are naive. Some of them don't even realize. Like the other day, they were briefing because, like, lately they've been targeting us and doing stuff. Like they had I think it was Laredo, they tried to shoot up the station. So they tell you to do SDR routes, to do your different routes home. And us training, I usually just do it, take different routes and do stuff just like you said, it's just who we are. But a young kid doesn't doesn't realize he's being watched. I mean, they give briefings and tell him, "Hey, take your uniform off, don't do this and that." But yeah, I think a lot of people in general, uh, Americans are naive to this stuff. I don't know if it was in one of your episodes or not, but people go, or it was Jeremiah when he was talking about the women, how he teaches them how to not be targets by getting in their car and looking around. But in general, Americans go to the store. They go to Walmart, they park their car, they walk in, grab their shit, walk out. They don't know anything that's going on around them, not a care. They got their cell phone in their ear and they're just walking, you know? So a lot of these kids don't realize that they're watching, they're seeing us.
Yeah, I got a I got a contract, and my wife's like, "Do you know how to do that?" And I was like, "No, but I know the theory of it, you know." And I said, I'll call my level 3 buddy, and I'll get a quick class from him." And he goes, "Listen, man, if they see you once, that's fine. If they see you twice, it's a coincidence. If they see you 3 times, you're fucked. Just remember that." And I was like, "Okay." And so I just put that in play, and I put that in. People, Americans are not paying attention at all to anything. You could be standing right next to them, and they are not going to see you there at all. And I've so many times I thought I was burned, and then I'll go, yeah, they didn't even see me, not even a little bit. And I stand out in a crowd, and they didn't see me. So just laugh. That's so true.
They, they don't. I mean, like they got like there was an email or text came out because like we have band pools, and that's another bonus too. If people, you can live kind of like some of the border towns, you don't want to live there. You don't want to because it sucks. So a lot of people live in San Antonio and they commute. So the patrol will pay. You have to do paperwork and they'll pay for a van, and then like 5 or 10 guys get in a van and they go to work. But you have to leave the van at certain locations. But there was a text that they were watching the van, because it's parked there all the time. They're like, "Oh shit, you got to watch out," because they sent I don't know, WhatsApp or anything that, "Oh, we know where you guys park your van." Well, that's nice, you know? But, yeah, no one puts 'cause I can see the vans come by, I can pick them out now. Like, before joining the patrol, just living in America, I never knew all the activity that went on the patrol. Now I drive around and I can see people driving and looking at dirt, and you can see the different vehicles, and you can see the van pool stuff, and I'm like, "Oh," my wife's like, "What are you looking at?" "Oh, that's an agent doing this." She's like, "What are you talking about? That looks like a vehicle that's loaded down by how low it is," but now that's an average person, but there has been a lot of instances that you just have to have good situational awareness around it. It's again, Americans are just in general, they're just deep in that phone.
That and uh, how much brain power, computing power are we dedicating to any threats at any given time, right? So the threat is dedicating 100% of their effort into doing whatever they're trying to do. Where, man, if we even peel off 5% of our focus, that's a big part of our day right there, just towards, looking around and stuff like that. So you could look at it from that and go, yeah, that's a full-time job for them to do their thing where you have to have specialized skills and things. It's just like any trade though. Once you start seeing stuff, it's with like carpentry or anything, you go, oh, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. But now you're cruising around going, oh man, I never saw all this shit before. And now you go, now I can't unsee it. Um, it's gotta be interesting because I say that with cops, that live in their hometown and they become a police officer and they go, "This place is full of crime." You know, like I never saw any of this shit. How much has your perspective changed on the society in general after starting this?
100%. My wife, like I said, from Texas, and we've never talked about the border. I grew up in California, thought about patrol maybe once in my life. I'm like, okay. And then when she went to the Sergeant Major Academy in El Paso, you can see the vehicles driving around, but that's all you see is you see a vehicle and you don't know what they do. But like you said, my perspective is weird. Like when I look at dirt all the time. My wife's, "What are you doing?" "Looking at dirt, looking for footprints." "Why you what?" You know what that is? That's an Air Force One. "What's an Air Force One?" "It's a shoe." She's like, "What are you doing?" But you don't, like, you can come home. I know a guy and I went through academy and worked with. He came home one day and was walking around. It's like, "Hey, who was at the house today?" He asked his wife. She's like, "What do you mean? Who was at the house? I see these different shoes that walked around." "Oh, the AC guy came." "Oh, okay. That's who it was." So your perspective changes on different things and how vehicles look and why they're in that area, and then the answers they give you. I mean, even over the last, I don't know, what, 6 years, the whole border thing's changed. Like when they said every town was a border town, yeah, that's a true statement. I mean, you didn't realize how many people came in and why they're here.
Is it that significant? Because we see the news. I live in Wisconsin, right? Very far removed, and most of America, 95% of America, doesn't live anywhere remotely close to the border and doesn't know what any of this is. Is it that big of a difference over the last, yeah, 6 years? You've been doing this 6 years. That drastic of a change in how things have been operating and the level of customers?
When we were doing the tents, we made a whole tent city, like a deployment tent city. Unreal. I started just driving around every day, nothing, just bored. Every once in a while, we get a group. You know, when I started, a group of 10 was a lot of people. During the peak, we're getting groups of 100 plus, and now we're back down to groups of 4. So that it was huge. Tracking a group of 100 was easy. It was just a highway. It's just
There's elephants traveling through
and that's
the
all it was. It
desert
wasn't
there.
hard, but it was just to get 100 people, it's so hard because they just scatter like ants or quail. You come in and they're running, just to get them all. But like I said, they built a whole tent city, so the amount of people we were just letting go and going on, that's why people see them. You'll see people in your towns all the time. I mean, some are legit and some are not, but there was no to me, there was no real process. There wasn't, you know? You need a border, you need to know who's coming in your house. Again, I don't care. There's a process and you do the right thing. That's the bottom line. If I invite you to my house, you know when you're coming, you come in and we do stuff, you know? I can't have come home and some dude sitting in my kitchen like, "Why you here?" "Because I wanna be." No, I don't know who you are. But people don't rationalize it that way. It's fine. There's a procedure, you just follow it, you know? My big take is America only needs so many doctors, so we let so many doctors in. You can't let 1,000,000 doctors in, what are we gonna do with them? So there's a process to do it. But if you don't wanna do that process, might as well sneak in. I get the system's messed up, it takes X amount of money to come in, let's say $9,000 to do it. Well, it's a process. Or you can just pay the cartel or whoever you want the money and they get it so you get in front of the line. It ain't right. I mean, anybody with a regular sense of mind should know that's not right, you know? I'm gonna go to the DMV to get my license, I gotta pay the money and I'm in 10th in line, but if I give you extra money and do some shady stuff and I get my license tomorrow, how's that fair? It's not, you know?
It's not going to go away. It's never going to go away.
No,
You
everybody
can keep
wants
it
to
in
cheat the
check.
system. Again, as
Yep. You can
Americans, we're
keep it in
super
check.
lazy. So we're gonna do what's the
Absolutely.
easiest.
I, you cannot keep it in check. A lot of these things are just going to be there. You just have to keep it to a manageable level, um, and things to mitigate. Yeah, people making those decisions, I'm never going to meet those people. I'm never going to have a conversation about these subjects. There's no point in me getting mad about it or anything like that because there's nothing I can do about it. I can only really affect me and my house, and even that I have a hard time with doing a lot of the time. But yeah, I'm not too worried about that. You said you're 100%. How's that fair? There's no restrictions on you doing anything. There's no VA hiding around the corner with a
No,
camera
that
going, "Gotcha, motherfucker."
so that's an interesting thing too that I learned because mine's just service related. It wasn't like I was like, what's the other one called when you get out from
P&T.
yeah. Then you can't work with mine service related. I did my application for the patrol and everything and just turned it in. The only thing I had to tell them was like, yeah, I got sleep apnea, but they look at those and the doctor's like, okay. I mean, I passed the PT test, I passed everything. So none of it's like not restricting. I don't know if I was missing a limb, maybe I would have to do that and still pass that. But mine's just years of jumping out of planes and doing different things, the sleep apnea and all the other common stuff that comes with it. But no, that it never comes up with anything. I mean, if you let it if you let it be a crutch and use the excuses, I mean, there's a lot of people legitimate. I had a guy that was on a EOD kid with us on a deployment, and another EOD guy was checking. He got blown up, and he's missing body parts, but he's still doing. I don't know, like whatever kind of help systems that he does that helps people out. But it just depends on what you want to do with with your disability or whatever you have. You know,
Yeah, I'm same boat. Same boat. I mean, I'm disabled, but I mean, what am I gonna do? I get my headaches and I get my other stuff. Can I make it better? Maybe some of the stuff. So we'll see. We're working on some stuff, but no,
I mean, for
good,
me,
good. There's
the VA has been getting better. I mean, at first, because I was out in the middle of nowhere in Korea and I was living there and I couldn't get it. Now I'm moving close to San Antonio and they're building more clinics and I get the appointments I need to get. I mean, I also have TRICARE and stuff and go through that, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. I've never had anybody said anything, but I don't try to dwell on it. I mean, I think some of the guys know that I don't run as fast for them, so sometimes I end up holding the horses more than getting off and chasing a guy. I let the young kids do it. And they're like, "Yeah, you can hold over. Yeah, you go after. It. You have fun running because I don't run much anymore." But I still climb the high fence because Texas have the barbed wire, but they also have like the 12 or 15-foot high fence to keep the exotic animals in. So I still climb those. But what are you gonna do?
I stay away from the tigers, I think is really the motto there. If you're
Right.
gonna be hopping fences, stay away
The
because there's more
alligators and
tigers
stuff.
in Texas than there are the rest of the world, I believe.
Yeah. These ranches, I mean, it's
Ah,
a trip. You go through, they got, I think we went one zebra, they got giraffes, all kinds of exotic animals.
oh,
But
yeah,
again,
I've
that's the
driven
fun
through
part of the
Texas once. I went, "That horse has got stripes on it. Holy shit."
yeah.
You're just driving through middle of nowhere in Texas, and there's a animals. You're like, "I don't think that belongs here," but whatever. People got money.
Oh, you got a lot of money. They're breeding deer down there, and then, like I said, it's a fun job, but you could be driving around and a lot of people don't get to go into that, and they let us like, some ranchers are cool, some not, but you get to go in their areas. Like, you have one that
Yeah.
has buffalo, the giraffe, and you get close. I mean, you don't mess with it, but again, a normal person's not gonna get close, and I think whatever antelope, we've ridden through antelope because 'cause we're chasing a group, and we go through there, and you're like, "Oh, look, there's an antelope, and okay, let's keep going, hope he doesn't chase me." So,
So that's kind of now of what you got going on. And does anything you learned as an MP when you were in the military come into play in what you're doing now? Is
I'd
it
say
different?
totally different. I mean, in the '90s, we were still using, what, billy clubs and 45s, and the whole world was different. I mean, some of the interpersonal skills, I would say you can relate to some of the stuff I did, but I think when I was in group and special forces, we go to so many schools, you have all the different interrogation schools and all the things, and you have to learn how to talk to your partner for it. So with that, you learn better people skills. You have to talk to all these people and all these different things. And then through the Border Patrol course, they teach you interpersonal and how to de-escalate and stuff. So some of it does. I would just say, like, just bringing back memories of some cases, but the world's changed so much now. I mean, I think what keeps people in check nowadays is cell phones and all that. I think last year or so, we finally got body cams. The patrol didn't want to have body cams forever. Now we have them. I mean, they're good and they're bad, but everybody's got a phone or a camera. And that's what keeps people in check. But no, I mean, it's
Somebody's watching.
two different worlds. I mean, we do law enforcement, but we're just doing the high end felonies and stuff. We don't do traffic stops and little stuff. Our interaction, I mean, sometimes people are innocent we talk to, but I would say at least 70 to 75% people we're dealing with, we already know they're criminals. We're not dealing with like, hey, this person said he hit him, and you're like, okay, cool. When you're doing it now, you already know they're in a ranch. Why are you here? You know, I'm just out camping out in the middle of nowhere. They usually try to say, but yeah, you're not out here. There's no way you're camping out here.
I interviewed somebody the other day, and he goes, "Wait," 'cause he was with the DEA, and he goes, We wouldn't get any pushback. They know it's easier to go in court and take care of it than to fight us in the open." Is that kind of the? Because it doesn't sound like. I mean, it's obviously anything's dangerous, but if violence violence is escalation, right? And that's going to draw attention to an area or to what's going on there. And then that's going to bring in, you know, the might of, if not Border Patrol, other agencies as well. So do they kind of go about that? And we'll wrap this whole thing up. We've been on this for a while, but that whole thing of it's easier to take care of this in court and then just continue in business.
Yeah, I would say that they just, like you said, they don't want the attention. We're dealing with just people smuggling in our sector because drugs and stuff brings more attention, and it's more lucrative to do a person. Like, I don't know how much they're getting. But let's just say they're doing $1,000 per person to smuggle, and you're only getting maybe 200 to 500 for weed or whatnot. So they'd rather get the money on that. And like you said, I don't think they want the big attention of If we're getting big bundles of fentanyl and all that, you're going to bring more agencies out. I mean, just when Trump wanted to close it, he brung the army out. So we have soldiers everywhere. So they already got that attention. So now they try to keep low key on everything. But yeah, I mean, I think there's been a couple agents assaulted, but again, it's still you're hitting a federal agent, so it's a felony. It's not like you're just fighting a regular cop. But again, I
I
think
thought
they
earlier
do.
you were just regular. You're not even a real cop, you said earlier. No.
Yeah. Until they get to the station, and then you start doing the paperwork, and then you tell them you're getting charged with a felony, and then they look at you like, "Wow, I never." But again, that's just again as Americans are naive. But no, I mean, I
We
think they
are.
just want to get in, So you can the faster you get through the system, again, you can start over. If you want to fight it, let's say you even had uh, an altercation with an agent or not. Well, you're staying longer because then you got to do the whole process, the paperwork and all that. But if not, you don't do it, you can get sent back to Mexico or wherever you're from quicker. So weigh your options. You want to try again to sneak in in 2 weeks, or do you want to go through the process of the courts 6 months later and then still get sent back? So it just depends on your options.
Do you get a lot of return business, return customers, people that coming through, back through again? Or is it just they'll push the issue until they get through and then you never see them again?
I think the older guys have been doing it long, used to it. I only saw one female twice and heard about her trying to get in 3 times. So it does happen. My my saying is we always catch the stupid ones. The people that are good at evasion, you're not going to catch. Again, with Siri, if you're good at the evasion, you don't want to get caught, you're going to do everything. But there is dumb people out there that shouldn't be doing stuff. And we get the stupid ones all the time. There's certain ways, or we have people that you've been in America for so long, and then you go back and you try to cross. Once you become an American, walking 40 miles is not a fun time, you know? If you live in a third world country or whatnot and you're in shape and you're used to walking everywhere, not eating that much and doing stuff, and then you're really motivated to come across, you can do it and you have a good guide. But you become American, you got AC in a car, 3 meals a day, and you want to walk 40 miles? No, we catch them all the time. They're like, man, this really sucked. I remember when I was young. Yeah. And plus, they get older. They may have ran the whole way and outran us when they're 18 or 20. You try to cross again later on when you're 50, we're going to catch you. We didn't catch you before, but we'll catch you. 3 strikes and you're out. Go ahead and try a third time. But it's interesting.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. And with everything, there's always more. There's always more to the story and more that goes on, and you never get the whole thing. And then people were very headline oriented, so you never have a whole story. And I mean, I'm not out there with you either, and I don't know the thing. I mean, it's just like anything. If you want to get into it, just get into it, and if you don't like it, go do something else.
Oh, there's other
Depends
options. I
on
mean,
where.
that's the key too, people. People join the patrol and then you can move on. Once you have your federal resume, you can go do other stuff. I mean, if you want to do Secret Service or whatnot, then you can't do it. And then I say join the patrol and get your foot in the door. You know, do 3 years, and at least you have that on your resume. I mean, that's what everything's about, a resume. And a lot of people don't get jobs. Again, like we have people that come in, they only came out of high school and worked at HEB or Walmart or whatnot, and that's all you have on your resume. And you're like, hey, I want to go work. Well, start somewhere. Customs, Border Patrol. I mean, they're giving good bonuses. And again, they still have special teams. I mean, yeah, BORTAC and BORSTAR. I mean, you got to do their tryout and go through their whole thing, selection all over again. People ask me all the time, like, man, I'm 52. I ain't going through another selection class, you know. But we have those special units that you can do. I mean, people don't know about. I don't think people even knew. I mean, they know since the news has shown BORTAC going around and apprehending people a lot. But there's teams. I think the head BORTAC team's got a free fall. They're going to free fall school now.
Of course they are. Of course they are. Everybody eventually is gonna go to free fall school
Oh,
except me.
that was
I
the big thing when I was in. Everybody's going to be free fall. Free fall's a smart guy's job. Anybody can jump out
I
standing glide. Free fall, shit go bad. Not good. I mean, I got a story of we did a chain up in Montana, and we're out there jumping, and our captain, his shit didn't open, and you're always supposed to follow the low man, right? So we're trying to follow him, but he's just burning through the sky, and he lands, and we all land. And I land in a field where the buffalo are, I guess. So I land, and I'm recovering my chute. This little kid comes up in a side by side and looks at me like, "Hey, where'd you come from, mister?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I jumped out of the plane. He's like, "You're lucky, sir." I was like, "Why?" "Well, we don't have the buffalo in this pasture today. They're over there." I was like, "Well, that's cool. So can you give me a ride?" He's like, "Sure." He's like, "You got a gun, mister?" I said, "Yeah, I got a gun. Why?" "I got one too, right here, my 30-30 right here." I was like, "Cool. So can you give me a ride to where I'm going?" He's like, "Yes." So we ought to meet up. But it's a smart man's job being Halo. I mean, static lane, what you're doing, maybe 1,000 or so, so over thing. You don't calculate the winds in your parachute and you got to follow that low, man. Then you'll be the guy sitting in a buffalo field with a kid taking you where you need to go.
or robbing you, depending on where you go in the
Well,
country. You
that's
know,
what I thought I was going when he asked if I had a gun. I'm like, oh, great. Now this little kid's going to take my. Yes, I got a gun right here. It's full of real bullets.
all right, sir. Sit. Are you sitting down? I got a scenario here. I may have lost all of my equipment and my firearm to a 9-year-old kid.
Right. Sir, why are you coming back in your uniform? I don't know, man. I don't remember anything. He hit me over the head. And then the buffalo came and dragged me around.
Just start the 15-6, sir, and we'll ask questions later. We'll just ask questions later. So, I mean, you're from Barstow, California. I've been to Barstow several times. What possibly could make you want to leave Barstow and go anywhere else? It's such a lovely, lush, beautiful place out
But
in California.
it's awesome if you like to ride dirt bikes and then just be out in the desert. And I mean, at least you're still back when California was still nice to be in. But no, there ain't nothing out there. Nothing at all. I mean,
No,
either you work for the Marine base or you work for the railroad, or that's about it, I think.
it's a weird town. I had fun when I was there, but I went there as like, you know, SF guy with like doing SF guy stuff there in town and then off in the base and things like that. So I was having fun when I would go, but just the God is the worst place. I think it's one of the worst places in the country, Barstow, California,
No,
just overall.
I would go with
No, you
Eagle.
don't think so?
I would go to Eagle Pass where I work. Eagle Pass is pretty bad.
Is it? Okay.
Depends on perspective on, I mean, how you see things and do it. I mean, at least you got 2 hours to go to Vegas and you got 2 hours to go to the beach. I mean, you're still somewhere you can do stuff.
That is exactly what I did when I had free time. As I had was 2 hours for Vegas and I was 2 hours at the beach, and that was what I did when I was out there. But what made you want to leave and join the army when you were a kid?
Well, because like you said, there's not much to do. I mean, I did wrestling, swimming, and did sports and stuff. And my mom, we had horses and stuff, and we'd do that and rode dirt bikes. But with any SF guy, just partying my ass off. I was drinking and doing stuff, partying, chasing women. I'm like, man, I'm not going to go to college because I will not make it through college. I just decided, man, I'll just join the military. I mean, become an MP, and then after that, I'll get out and I'll become a cop and live my life. Maybe become a California Highway Patrol or something, just to get out of there. I mean, back in the '90s, jobs, I don't know, there weren't that many jobs. I mean, as a young kid, you wanted to be a cop, fireman, or a soldier. Those were the top three that people wanted to do. I mean, there was no big NFL contracts or people were going to want to be a rapper or an Instagram. There was none of that. I mean, you had your choices. I mean, I guess you could be a teacher too, but with most of them, you had to go through college or with law enforcement. Then they didn't hire 18-year-olds. So, and I wanted to see the world. I mean, I joined and I got to see the world. I went to Germany, went to to Haiti, went to Guam, went to Afghanistan. You get to see the world too. So that was a cool incentive to why not join the army?
In the 90s, low budget years. Why'd you pick MP though? Because is it just because you wanted to be a cop afterwards, or was there some allure there otherwise?
Well, my oldest brother, he was a security police a cop in the Air Force. I was like, well, sounds like a cool job. I'll do the MP and become a cop. I mean, the Army's easier than the Air Force to get rank and stuff. The Air Force is a little bit more difficult. I was like, well, the Army sounds easy. I didn't want to be a Marine. The Marines are around California area, and Marines are Marines. They're good if they do, but they're still stubborn people. So decided, yeah, just did my ASVAT, had a high score, and he's like, you can be anything. I was like, well, MP sounds good. There's a job after. I mean, that was before I knew about the military. I didn't do any contracts. I didn't know about airborne. I didn't know about air assault. Didn't know about all these bonuses. The recruiter was probably excited. I came in like, hey, I want to join, do this. What do you want to do an MP? And like, okay, sign here. Okay, cool. You know,
I mean, but you said you only in what did you say? You only intended on doing 5 years and then moving on, but you did 10 to 11 years in MP before you accidentally went to selection. How did 5 turn into 10 to 11?
so I went to Germany. I enjoyed Germany. In the 90s, you can drink, you can do stuff. It was a good time. That was back when they had the German marks. They didn't have the euro and all that. So it was still, the money was still good. I left there. I went to Benning, got airborne school, started having fun doing that, got married, my first marriage. SF guys have to have 1 to 2 marriages to be a cool SF guy.
Allegedly, yeah, yeah.
Alleg
Unfortunately,
So,
yeah.
had my first kid there, enjoyed it, so I re-enlisted, went to Fort Carson, kinda was doing the field MP. I enjoyed doing the field stuff more than I did the law enforcement. Had my second son, went to Alaska, had a great time in Alaska. Nobody's been to Alaska. Alaska's awesome. Got to be on an airborne MP platoon. We did a lot of field stuff, supported all the infantry stuff. I started like, oh man, I like the infantry stuff more than law enforcement. Law enforcement was cool, but you do your field time and then you have to do your maintenance time, and then you get like maybe a week or a month doing law enforcement. But it always changes. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. You give tickets, or let's say I do a domestic case. You do the paperwork, you never see the end of it. It goes to the chain of command, and whatever the military wants to do. You don't get to see what happens in the process unless you're in the law enforcement investigator of that part. But then you go back to do the field. So I enjoyed that, was jumping out of planes, got to go to Thailand, got to do Guam, and I was like, man, this infantry stuff's a lot more fun. And then a couple of my guys were like, hey, we're going to try out for special forces. The recruiter came, I was like, okay, I'll go. And we went and did the tryouts and went to selection. And I was like, man, this is pretty fun, other than, road marching and
Other than
stuff.
it sucked. Other than it sucked.
But that's the fun part. As you talk to anybody, the suck is the best part of anything. People want to go to
Always.
basic training for story. You talk to kids that go to basic training nowadays. They went to basic training, they have cell phones. I have a niece that went, cell phones, weekends off. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you didn't get smoked till you got to thrown up? No, none of that. I go, wow.
Not one time. I went in 11 and not one time. But my buddy who enlisted with me uh, was right across the street and at the company. And they got the shit smoked out of them all day, every day for the whole time they were there. We didn't get smoked one time. We didn't get in trouble one time. We didn't get smoked one time. Nothing. I was very disappointed. Uh, whatever. Experiences may vary, but that was in 11. I can't imagine it's very stringent now, but it's just how things go. The order of things. Everything gets easier and then it gets harder as the need arises for it to be harder. And That's the way it goes. I assume that's the way it wasn't for you. I mean, selection hasn't changed all too much um, over the years, but you just went on a whim. You're just like, I'm just gonna go, and no, I assume you didn't know at all what a Green Beret was, or had you had any interaction with them before that?
No, 0. Didn't know anything
Smart,
about it, didn't
smart.
nothing. My other guy I know who was in that other platoon, he went and came back, and I just trained with him. He was a big bodybuilder guy, and he spent hours in the gym. So I worked out with him, but people are like, "You work out with that guy? That guy's insane." I mean, we would just do 4 hours, and he would just crush me every day. And I enjoyed going to the gym with him because I didn't have to think like, "What?" I was like, "He makes all the workouts. He tells me what to do." You know? If I do my own workouts, I have to go in there, "Hey, okay, I'm gonna do bench today. We're gonna do 3 sets. I'm gonna do this." No, I would show up the gym and he's like, "This is what we're doing." And he would just load weights on it and just yell at me and lift them. I'm like, "This is okay. Don't have to think. Just crush it." Good times.
That works for some. It works for some. I think 4 hours is a little bit excessive, but hey, you're training for endurance, so good on you. Obviously worked out for you. You were
No, it was a good time. I mean, the only hard part is, because you do different peers through the course. Once some people figure out you're an MP, you're gonna get peered. You're not part of the infantry brotherhood. You don't know all this stuff, so they're gonna treat you different until they get to know you. But that's just like when I got to my first team, it was fun. But they're like, "Hey, where are you from?" "California," and they're all rednecks and stuff. They're like, "Oh, that's nice." I was like, "Oh, okay, this is cool." And then I told them, "No, I listened to this and that," and I think what put me over the edge one day is I came in to work with a David Allen Coe shirt on. They're like, "You know who he is?" I said, "Yeah, I went to one of his concerts." Like, "Okay, you're all right then. You're not a real Californian then." I'm like, "Okay, cool, man." But that's just anything with life. You're gonna get vetted, and people are gonna see you, and they're gonna try to figure out. I had a guy, Pappy used to do that because I was at 18 Charlie. He used to run the 18 Charlie stuff, and Pappy was the old demo guy. He gave a story once was a great story. He said, when you guys get to groups, you're going to be a young puppy, right? You're going to be this little puppy. You're going to get in this group of big dogs, right? He said, there's going to be a lot of sniffing, a lot of barking, a lot of biting until you get your place with that pack. Until you grow up and you can start fighting as a dog, they're going to treat you like shit, you know? So I carry that everywhere I go. People don't understand. Yeah, you're just a new little puppy when you come in. Until you can prove yourself and your worth in that pack, they're not gonna do anything with you.
That's everywhere, everywhere, really. Especially if you're operating on any type of team or anything like that, that's going to be everywhere. And it becomes less and less tolerable, I guess, now as people don't understand that. Like, you got to pay your dues. Like, some of these things take time. It takes time to get to all these points in life. You have to be patient. Well, I don't want to be patient. Well, you're going to have a rough time then if you can't be patient, or at least wait until you unfortunately, get seniority or know what you're doing. Because you get to group and man, you find out real quick, man, they didn't teach me jack shit. I don't know anything. And now I gotta figure it out what an actual 18 Charlie actually does. Here's your property book. Here, get to work, start
Yeah,
inventory.
nobody knew about but like you said, you gotta be humble. I mean, a lot of people don't wanna be humble, but life will humble you real quick. Like you just said, you get to a team, you learned all this. Here's your property book. Here's all your stuff, and you gotta figure it out. What do you mean figure it out?
Hey, go you gotta start inventorying. I mean, like Charlie's only got 2 pages of stuff and the rest is the echoes and the bravos. And you go, hey, I need you to lay out your stuff. How about you go fuck
Right.
yourself? And he goes, oh, this is gonna be fun. Let's I don't know how we're gonna do this here. And you go to your senior and they figure it out. Oh man, God, I guess I'm gonna have to go ask one of my buddies on one of the other teams here because nobody's really gonna give me the right answer. So I better figure this shit out.
I mean, it gets fun. I mean, like, I think at the end, like, once you get the knowledge and all that. Because I was on a trip and I had a new captain. We're changing out. We had to do a layout, and I had everything ready. And then it's his property book, so I was getting it ready. And he's like, "Well, I don't have time. I don't have time." I said, "Sir, okay, fine. You don't have time. I got all this shit." I dropped the books off in his room or whatnot, the little hooch we had. And I was like, "Here's all the books. Have fun with it. You don't have time to do layouts and do this and sign for your shit. Here's your books. Have fun with it. I'm going to the gym." He's like, "What? It's your shit. You don't want to participate." And then he came to me later, "I'm sorry. We'll do it your way." That's what I thought. But like you said, you have to be humble and you start for somewhere. But once you learn your path and how to do it, and like we're talking about interpersonal skills, there's interpersonal skills, and then there's, you just have to learn how to do it the way that they understand. Some people don't understand how things work.
Yeah. And know when you're fucked up too,
Right.
because
Know
that
when to
captain, the
know
captain,
when know
there's
when to pull
nowhere,
that card.
there's no talking your way out of that one when you go, oh, I don't have time, because you go, oh, the captain, who's he going to go to? The major, the company commander, and go, you just dropped the books off. Well, why did you drop the books off? Well, I kept blowing him off. Get the fuck out of my office.
Well, it's,
You,
well,
you
he
know you're fucked up here.
when they realize they have a timeline because they have to send it up to his boss. "Why are you late?" "Because my Charlie won't do it." "Okay, sure." And then they ask the Charlie, "I've been trying to do it, but he doesn't want to." So again, openly, and you're in charge. It's your timeline. I'm trying to help you the best I can, but you don't want help. So it's
Did you want to be a Charlie when you finally got to the course, or is that just given to you?
no. So I started as an Echo,
Ooh,
which was fun. That was back when we did Morse code. So when
that
we were doing
stopped
Morse
in that
code,
stopped in yeah.
I was able, I think, to receive. I could understand, but my sending speed wasn't fast enough because back then you had to send and receive, I think, at a 9 or whatever the criteria was. So they never showed us like how to do the tapping with your leg. So they gave us the little stuff and we're learning, and then finally someone come in and they showed us the right way to do it, but I still wasn't fast enough. So when it came to the final test of that, like, "Yeah, you're not doing it." So I got recycled, and they're like, "You're a Charlie now." And in retrospect, I was like, "Yeah, I wish I was a Charlie at first because that was awesome." Because back then we were doing Morse code, you had to do all that stuff, and now the Echoes are doing all the computer stuff, and then I didn't want anything to do with that. Because that was back, I think, they probably still do it. You have to go out to Fort Sill and do your combo shop from Fort Sill to Fort Bragg, and if you don't make that stuff, then you fail. I was like, "Man, I don't want to be doing this." And then plus you carry all this stupid radio shit. I'd rather carry explosives. You blow this shit up and you don't have to carry it anymore.
True.
And
Very
I
true.
wasn't smart enough to be a Delta. I mean, I hung out with the Deltas and did all that stuff with them, but no, I'm not smart enough to do that. And then the Bravo, you don't really know what coming in. I didn't know which one, they got Bravos, all the different ones. You don't know what you don't know. They just tell you this is a job. And then once you start going through the course, you do SUT, you go through it and you do it, and like then you start learning. You're like, "Oh man." I mean, I enjoyed being a Charlie. I mean, you got the property books and do that, but a Bravo would have been cool because I'm getting more into guns now. But again, the Bravo doesn't do much. She's not the high man on the team.
You're gonna offend the Bravo on your team that's gonna listen to this and go, "Oh, what's William up to? Oh, fuck that guy. Didn't do much. Fuck him." No.
They're smart. They're smart Bravos. I mean, they got to do mortars. They're smart guys. But again, there's typically, I mean, I got a guy that I work with now, a National Guard kid, young kid, nice guy. He's a Bravo. But people talk to him like, "Hey, what's up with this SF guy?" And I call him my autistic brother. He's a smart guy, but he's just so in tune, and he's a Bravo. I'm like he was a Bravo. You tell him Bravo, smash it. Go, "Yeah, you tell him to do something, he'll do it." But other than that, he can't really think outside the box. I was like, "Yeah, because he's a Bravo." But again, it's still everybody knows the hierarchy. I mean, the Deltas are the smart guys. You have the Echoes, you have the Charlies, and then you have the Bravos and your Foxes and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying they're not smart Bravos out there, but they're not known for their tactics. They're known to I mean, the old thing in the day was Bravo smash. I mean, you want something done, he'll smash it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing. The Charlie course. I don't know how it was for you guys because you went through in 2002, and I went through in 13 the Charlie course. I believe it was 13, uh, and they didn't fuck with us at all. But man, did the Bravos and the Echoes get fucked with. They got fucked with to the max all day, all the time. I think the Echoes even more because they're like they had to have their heads shaved, I think, and they were just getting the shit smoked out of them all the time. And the Bravos, I think they were getting the shit smoked out of them because they would fuck up all the time and then they'd get in trouble. But we didn't get fucked with at all. And now I realize why is because we're carrying live explosives around at the range, and the
Right.
cadre didn't want to fucking stress us out and kill everybody, so they didn't really fuck with us at all. They were just as scared of us as we were of them. It turns out, from the finding out now from talking to some of them, it's like, oh, because a student could literally just fucking kill everybody
All
by
right.
accident,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the reality of it. With the other ones, not as much. The deltas can kill somebody uh, with one thing, but that's only one person. But explosive accident can take out a whole class. It's taken out whole ODAs before in training. Uh, Taking out students would be even fucking. Can you imagine that? And that did happen. It has happened a couple times at the table. So yeah, interesting. So how was the Charlie course for you?
I was
Any
no, it was
issues?
awesome. It was back then, we had Pappy, we had, Ernie Tabata. He was there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was still jumping out of planes when I was doing it. They finally made him stop jumping out of planes because he was getting too old. But now it was a good time. I mean, like you said, we learned a lot of different explosives. I enjoyed it more than Echo Course, like you said, it's more stressed out. There's so much you gotta learn and different things. I mean, you went in there, you're just doing math and calc in place and different stuff, and I mean, so it wasn't as hard. Like you said, I think the Bravos, they always were getting smoked because they don't have that much stuff. I mean, they're going through weapons, but I think they were road marching out to the range and doing stuff. But we had a lot of good instructors. I think one of my instructors, I don't remember his name, I think he went over to Delta afterwards, but it was a good time. I mean, wasn't as stressful.
When in the process did you realize what you were getting yourself into? Because you said you had no idea when you went to selection, and I assume you didn't learn too much more before you started the course. I know I didn't. I just wanted to get out of my unit. So, when did you realize, "Oh, I'm going to do this?" And obviously that changes during the course for you because 9/11 happened, but you had to have some idea what you were getting into. When did that happen for you?
I think it was SUT, because we don't do as MPs, we didn't do as much small unit tactics, so we're out there doing it, learning the raid, the ambush, and all that stuff, and that's a lot of fun when you're learning it, it's very meticulous, but you still learn it. But I think the realization came when we came in to the bay and we're going out on our second evals, and the instructor came and he was late because they closed down post because after 9/11 they closed everything down because Clinton and them, I think, opened up post. They didn't have gate guards, so he was late. He came in there. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna show you guys something on the computer." And he opened the computer. It showed the planes going into the towers. We're like, "Okay, so this is the new scenario of what we're gonna do in the field." And he's like, "No, this is real." We're like, "What do you mean this is real?" So the realization that came into that we're gonna leave when we graduate. We're gonna go into combat and do real stuff. So then we went out and did our graded stuff. I mean, it was just to me, it was surreal that you don't realize how much noise there is in the world. We're out doing patrols, but that's when they grounded all the aircraft, and there was nothing in the sky. We didn't have any air support or anything for the missions. But if you look up, there was no aircraft flying at all. It was just quiet out there. And then you realize why, because they grounded it. But you're just like, man, I didn't know. It's quiet when you're out in the field, but it was. doubly quiet because nothing was going on. So I think that was the realization of what we're gonna do. I think the instructors started taking things more serious on how well they're gonna train us, on what you're gonna do. So I think that was to me the big turning point.
Yeah, they're gonna have different conversations in the cadre hut, and then there's the fear of missing out for them as well, because nobody thought I'm sure somebody thought it was gonna go 22 years, but, nobody thought it was gonna go as long as it did, and to have such a far reach as it did for SF as well, just becoming completely dependent upon in the latter stages of the conflict as well, so everybody thought, "Oh, we gotta we gotta get in there," and after, a few years of that, is this ever gonna end? And then, no, obviously, it's never gonna end, and, it never will end. We're not there, but we're still there. It's never gonna end.
But no, I got to the course, and then there was people quitting because they wanted to go back to 82nd because they're like, "Oh, man, they're going to combat right now." But the weird part of that is that all the people that stayed in the course beat them to Afghanistan, because you gotta
Yeah,
out-process.
82nd thought they were gonna go right away, and they
Yeah,
did not.
and you went to them, so when I graduated, we were straight in. I can think I graduated in 2002, 2003 or whatnot, and we went straight in. We were the 2nd rotation that went in because 5th group and all them did it, then 3rd group was started going right after that. So we beat all those guys that quit because they thought, yeah, they said, "We're going in right now." And no. They had out process, they had to get their pecking order, and we're like, "You coulda just stuck it out." But that's when and then SUT was fun, there was a lot of stuff that you don't realize that goes on in SUT. All the training and all the stuff you did there, we started doing in Afghanistan. We left and we're doing the same missions. So that was I would say SUT and Robin Sage, but I think 9/11 was the big turning point for everybody.
Oh, absolutely, everything changed, nothing was unaffected, how we did things. I mean, if you graduated to then the X-rays, right as you were leaving, X-rays were starting to show up, and the course changed. As much as they say it didn't, it did. Everything changes. If you add something new or take something away, it's gonna change, and how they did things, and the age of the team's gonna change, and the mission, and all this other stuff. Everything changed after that. Uh, just posts closed up, everything got a lot more secure, and I don't know, we went back to war, and the only thing that we're good at, killing people. That's what we went back to doing. Well, we gotta go kill people, and in mass, and that's what we're good at, and that's what we went back to go do. So, everything changed. What was graduation like for you, though? Because the cadre, you start getting farther down closer to graduation. At least it was for us. They start talking to you more and kind of telling you what you're getting into, especially towards the end of what you're walking into at group. But also, they didn't know because they weren't at group at this time of transition. Did you guys have some idea what you guys are going to be walking into at group once you graduate and get your beret and get assigned to a team?
No. I mean, I think one fifth group team came and talked to us at the end of Robin Sage because they went. I don't know if it was one of the triple nickel guys or whatnot, because cadre still know people in group, but like you said, the cadre that are group have been there maybe 3 years, 2 years, depends on where you're at in your 3-year group rotation. So they didn't know what to expect. But I do remember one of them came and talked to us about it, but we still couldn't grasp like what's going on, because they just did that one trip and they had them come and talk. But no, none of the cadre really knew what was going on. I think a lot of them were trying to get back to group. So there was a little bit of hostility of like, "Hey, I need to get to group now." But now that it wasn't like it was later, like how Alex was talking about his experience. No, it wasn't that way. It was still fresh, and people were still finishing their rotations at SWIC and not going into groups, so no one really knew. A lot of them still had friends, but no, it wasn't like that. I mean, I know day one I got on the teams, and then, like I said, you're still a low man. And we were just getting ready to low out. And it's like you said, here's the property book. You're the junior guy. This is what we're going. This is what you're taking, you know, and we're going to this area. But it was still unknown for a third group at that time. We were still getting our first trips and stuff. I mean, we didn't even have vehicles back then. We didn't have Humvees. I know they sent one of the supply guys down to downtown Fayetteville, and he bought as many Toyota Tundras or whatever we had back then to ship. So that's what our first vehicle was, Toyotas, so it was still fresh.
Dream job for a supply guy. Here, take the card and go down to the Toyota dealership and buy whatever looks like a Hilux. All of them.
Yes, all of them.
That's the Super Bowl for the supply guy.
Well, it was then, but then you go back on the flip side. So when we were leaving, I forgot what trip, like down the road, when we got all the Humvees and all the vehicles in, well, then the supply guy had to go out around Afghanistan and find all those vehicles and ship them back because they were still third group property, I think. So he
Oh, they
was
had to bring
looking for
them
all those
back.
trucks, and they were giving out like, "Oh, here, you can take this somewhere blown up." So he had to go try to find all these vehicles that were on the property books. So dream job at the start, not at the end.
That's so fucked up. I wonder where those vehicles are today. They're probably in some retired third group sergeant major's house.
When they were trying to bring them back, they were doing it. But I remember the guy. I was like, "What are you doing?" Because he was the supply sergeant. "What are you doing?" "I gotta go look for these vehicles." "Ooh, good luck. I don't. Can you help me?" "I saw a blown up vehicle in the motor pool. It might be what you're looking for." So yeah, he was flying
Did
around trying to
did they
find
bring
out.
any of them back, or was it just a disaster?
I think he got a lot of them back, but a lot of them were just written off. Some were blown up, and some were like because the teams would come in and out. You'd come in and you're falling on a fire base, and then the seventh group or different teams are coming in. And this is the property book. And you're like, cool. And some of it fell off the property books, and some was given like, hey, this warlord here's a few car. Go have fun with it. Not on my property book. So
Mm, yeah. I'm
sure
not
he
signed
found a
for it.
lot, but
Fuck
a
it.
lot of it was just like, I don't know. It's written off. It's gone.
All right. The history goes, it was horses, and then it was Toyota Tacomas or Tundras or what were they? The smaller ones,
Smaller
right?
ones.
Yeah. And then you guys got Humvees in 2003. So that was for the progression of things. That's funny.
We got the Humvees came in later afterwards. I mean, yeah, the fifth group guys did horses in Iraq, and then the third group guys, and then stuff in Afghanistan. Yeah, we had the Toyotas, and then yeah, eventually they got the Humvees, the bombers, and all that stuff. And then the progression was with the new vehicles, the RGVs and stuff. Those came in the MRAPs and stuff. So it went from the
Yeah.
Humvees to the MRAPs was the last ones, the big armored stuff. But those didn't work
Yeah.
worth a crap because the roads and stuff were so small. We're driving around these big armored trucks. So it was a weird progression.
People making decisions. Oh, we got to have these things. We got to escalate. Everything escalates, and you got to have bigger and more protection and all these other things. And again, decisions. We won't sit at those tables and make any of those decisions anytime soon, or meet the people that did. But somebody made a lot of money off of those contracts, I'm sure. So good for them.
But yeah, Oshkosh had the contract with all that. I mean,
Yeah, right up the road here, and Wisconsin company represent.
but yeah. I mean, like you said, everything goes full circle. It's weird because we did our first trips. You're embedded with the locals, and then the last trips is they started again. Oh, we're going to go back to embed with the things, and they just gave it a different name. You know, it was just a flavor of what they wanted to call it. We're working with the locals, and then we made a military, and then at the end, you got embedded with the locals again. So it just went full circle on the whole
It's old as
mission set.
new again. Yeah. It worked before. We can work. This can work again. And also the groups. I mean, we're rotating, and somebody could probably shed light on this, that some lesson learned officer that's in charge of all the whole thing, but the loss of continuity when you're switching teams is one thing, but then you're switching whole groups, ripping out. Uh, there's no lines of communication where there once they go back. Like it's hard enough communicating within your own battalion, let alone another group that's on a different base that you don't know those people over there as well too. So the the techniques and procedures had to get a little muddied, and we're just keep adjusting, we're going to adjust until they get back to where they were, and then it just this cycle. So but I never went. I don't really comment on the whole thing. That's just how I see the good idea fairy, or uh, the command making decisions, and it just evolves until it gets back to where it was. That's how
Oh,
everything goes.
like you said, the continuity was it changed. Like you said, you're changing different groups, different ones. A lot of the teams tried to get back to the same fire bases, but some didn't. Like I don't think we went to the same fire base with the teams I was on. Like you said, TTPs and all that, everything starts changing. Then seventh group does it this way, third group does it this way, and then first group started getting in the mix later on. So it was a whole thing. I think it was just like your other guest, I think Jeremiah was saying, when he went from third to 10th, it's two different worlds. People don't understand. Like when I talk to people, oh, you were in group, do you know this person? No, man. I mean, you were on a team, you knew your team next to you, and that's about it. Maybe another team, you didn't know other people in other battalions. It's a small organization, third group and all that, the whole things, but you don't know. You learn to meet people when you're in different schools from different groups, but you don't know. I mean, you do different rotations, and like you said, that's what happens is a new commander comes in and he's like, well, this is my idea how the war is going to go, and then it changes through that and the whole thing. Like you said, there's smarter people than me and us that make those decisions. You're just a little cog in there. Like you said, you just want to go and you want to take it to the enemy, and that's just how it was. The rules changed. I think the last trip we had to have combat camera with us. The first trip you're doing what, but then you having a cameraman trying to document what's going on. I mean, technology changes. Same thing I said with the patrol. We start off without it. Now I have a body cam. Same thing with combat. We started off with nothing. Then you have a cameraman wants to document everything that's going on. You know? I mean, it's good and it's bad. You need to document history, but there could be downfalls in all of it.
Yeah. So there's a positive and a negative to everything. But if the commander doesn't have his storyboard pictures, then how is he going to tell his commander what he's been up to? I just Let's be real here. If the font isn't correct and the storyboard pictures aren't there, did you really accomplish anything, sir? No, you didn't, because nobody knows what the fuck you do. So we started out, we're going to do 5 years and get out and then go be a cop. Now you get to 10 or 11 and you're like, oh, I'm going to go be SF. And then you start getting to the team, you got to be like 13, 14 years now. I mean, so 20 is usual to get out, but you stayed in for a long time. What kept you at this point staying? Was it the high op tempo and the rotations and you're just getting after it and just like, I don't want this to end? Or what kept you staying in for as long as you did?
But it's the teams. Like I talk to guys now, and there's an army guy on the patrol, and he hated the army. There's different things and positive, but it's just the teams. You get there, you move around the regular army every 3 years. You're not stable, but I was at Fort Bragg, was stable, had a house. My whole life was there. My kids got to go to the same schools. They're giving you get your first little bonus, but you're there with the teams. And then they offered me the $150,000. I was like, yeah, that sounds like good money. I already planned on staying. So there's more of an incentive there, but it's just team life. You're going to work with guys, like you said, that want to get after it every day. You're living in the same town. You don't have to move. You don't have to uproot your kids. You don't have to do anything. You know, you're stuck in this little world. I mean, life's great. I mean, we're getting to go to any school, Halo school, Jump Master school. They were doing Mid-South shooting schools. There's only anything you can dream of because, like you said, when the war started, they're just giving us money. You come back from a trip, you write up a con op. What do you think? When we were going to Griffin Group, we did a PMT, a pre-mission training up in Montana. You're just doing all this cool guy stuff. The money's coming in. You know, you're going as the Charlie. Hey, we got this budget. You're going to the Delta. Hey, what do you want? And I would tell them back, hey, just write it up, whatever. I'm going to do the research. You do the research. And they just write it up and you get this cool equipment, whatever they imagine. I want this kind of thing. Okay. And you do it. So the money was coming in, the missions were coming, like you said, the op tempo. You didn't have really time to breathe. A lot of people were having problems, marital problems, stuff, because you would leave, come back, month off, PMT, you're doing your pre-mission, you're going training up, boom, you're going back. So a lot of problems. So it was just, to me, I didn't have time to think. I got to go back I went to SWIC, I got to do selection. I did the x-rays and the selection for a while, then I went back to the teams, and then it was high, and then after that, then I went back and did Rob and Sage, and then that's when I think stuff was slowing down, and I was like, then I was gonna get out. But, nah, I don't think I ever really thought about the time. You start moving up in positions on the team, I think helps too. You start out kind of, back then you had juniors, but then they didn't, but become the senior Charlie, and then you move up. I mean, the ultimate goal was, to me, was to make team sergeant, and then sergeant major. I mean, I didn't get to be team sergeant until I got to Rob and Sage, so I didn't really think I was done. You know, so I think that's the whole progression that keeps people going.
How senior was your senior when you got to the team? I mean, did he bridge the gap back to the time when there was no money to do anything?
Yes. So
So, what did he think of all this when they're like, "Buy whatever the fuck you want"?
I was night and day. One of my team sergeants was in Panama. He did that, and then he was that. So it was night and day, because I came in the 90s, like, as an MP, and we used to do the field stuff. You didn't have money for blanks. They took your per diem and they gave you MREs. You're out going bang, bang everywhere. And then the war on terrorism came around. There's money for everything, you know? So we're training, you're doing live shoot houses and stuff. So it's night and day. And then you can see it again, the flip side, because later on, when it was drawn down, you can see it because we had the OEF money and all that. But then when that money started going away and then people are coming in and they're asking for stuff, and you're like, yeah, we don't have money in the budget. Like, what do you mean? And then, like you said, to the old timers, it didn't feel that bad because we grew up in the time in the 90s where you're just shooting blanks or not even having blanks, to having money and back to not a little bit money. But to the kids that came in, the extras that came in during OEF are used to the money. When we went down to, like, hey, you can't go to this school, but you can go to this school, they were all upset. But they never lived through the time of you just went to the field to go to the field.
Yeah, I brought that idea up to talk about on the show a few times, is there's nobody left on the teams at the company level, um, active duty. National Guard, there's still some guys on the teams that have been there for a long time, and they're gonna be there still for a long time in the future, but at least the active duty groups, there's nobody left on the teams or the company level that remembers September 10th, and there's no tempering of expectations now with the next generation. There's guys that have the crossover where their senior was there in the poor times, but even the instructors from the course, they're all gone, the ones that remember too. The older guys that were always saying, "Yeah, when I was there even, they said, it's gonna go back. It's all gonna go away, guys. You guys will be taking your POVs out to the range and yelling bang. Just wait, just wait." And those guys are all gone now too. And so now, and that's just how time works. And now it's over. It's not over, but it's not the same as it was. And so there's this I don't know, failure to adapt, maybe, attitude
Oh, yeah.
of
Well, it's the
you
circle.
can remember the good times. Yeah, it's the circle of life.
It's the circle of life. I mean, but that is. I mean, like I always tell people, like me and Alex always talked. Like, he told the story when he came to the team, and he was just doing stuff, and he's a smart guy. He's a Delta. He's a super smart guy. He was always doing the right thing and talked, and that's why he told the story and came up. I asked him, he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just doing what you told me. I'm following you around." But that was back in the time where there was combat. You'd walk around, everybody had a combat patch. There was not many slick sleeve people, you know, but that's what we were doing. Everybody was just getting after it. But like you said, once the low came down, it's just that everybody came off the big high. That's with anything in life. You go out drinking or doing stuff, you're in a high, and then you're gonna drop down. So we're in the low right now, and people don't remember that time. It's just we're gonna go back to a peacetime army, and the peacetime army sucked. I mean,
An incomparable high as well, the ultimate one. Several people have said, there's nothing, there's no drug, there's no booze, there's no relationship or anything that compares. I have no perspective here. I'm just repeating things. So that compares to that. And then it goes away. And now we have this massive spike in suicides. And so many of my guys that I talk to we're all just straight sober now. Like, it got so bad they don't even drink. Like, it just goes away. It gets so far off the cliff that they're sober. There's so many people of my age that don't fucking drink anymore. That wasn't the generation before, and it won't be the next generation. Like, there's this there's there we come from that generation that there was no off switches as well. So you got this addictive thing, whether you want to or not, from addictive personalities and special operations, and then that went away, and now we have this undulation, right? Swings one way, swings back the other, and we have that too, and we have all the second and third order effects that happen with it as well. It's a fucking bummer, to say the least.
well, that's what was going on group back then. I mean, like I said, we're doing trips back and forth. People are buying motorcycles, all kinds of stuff. That's when group were like, "Oh, you got to do motorcycle safety." They used to make us do annual rides. You had to have safety classes. You had to do all the classes. You had to have them all because people were just trying to get that high. I mean, I always like to tell people that you're always looking for go back to the perfect team. Like the first team I was on ODA 3434 was awesome time.
Shout out to 3434 if you're
Now
listening.
it's a 4 digit, whatever the 4 digits, but it was an awesome time, best time I had. But people are trying to chase back to that time. You want to go back to that, but you're never going to get back to that perfect team, that perfect time, that perfect trip. But people chase that, and that's when they run into problems, like you said, with drinking, marital, because you're trying to chase that perfect high. And then once you mitigate that, like I said with Alex, that's what I told him. I was on 3414 with him. It was a good time. We had good trips, but it wasn't not my first team. It wasn't my first trip. It wasn't with all these, like you said, experienced guys. Now I'm the senior guy, and I'm trying to teach him. But that was probably his best time. He tells those stories. But then he's still trying to chase that high, you know? So it's a circle, but you have to have these people that kind of mitigate and bring you along. But as we've been talking, that's, I think, a lot of people's problems with adapting. Like my hardest problem when I got out, you know, you leave, they give you your flag, your stuff, your DD 214, you're done, right? What does that mean? I left post and I'm driving home. I'm no longer in the army. I'm no longer a Green Beret. Who am I today? Who am I? What do I do today? You got your uniform on, but you have your paperwork, your berets sitting there, and I'm like sad. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. People talk about crying. Yeah, I was thought about crying. I'm like, what do I do today? What is my purpose tomorrow? What do I do with my life? You know? And thank God that the patrol showed up, and I was like, oh man, now I kind of have a purpose. It's still not the same, you know, but that's where people have problems. Like I was listening to Jeremiah when he was talking, he had a senior person tell him, and I had a good guy when I worked at Robin Sage, was a Delta guy, and he told me the same thing that Jeremiah got told. He's like, when you leave, Bill, you know who you are? You're Bill. You're not Master Sergeant Bengel. You're not this. You're Bill. You have to learn how to be Bill. Nobody gives a shit what you did before. Nobody's gonna know that you were this, you were a Charlie, you did this combat, you did all this stuff. Nobody cares. What can you do for me today? You're just Bill. What are you doing? You know? So I took that to heart, that's why when I went through the border patrol stuff, I was just Bill. I had a past. I listened to what they said and I learned and I had to adapt. Like we were talking about before, you got to be humble. A lot of people can't let go, you know? So they go drugs, they go to this and they're like, oh, and they get a job and then they're angry, like, oh, this is not how we do it. Well, yeah, I get it that you were somebody cool and you were a sergeant major, you were in charge of everything. But today, when you come into Walmart and they want you to do the cash register, you're the cash register guy and your name is Bill. So that's a big take on life, too.
Some good motivation right there. I don't want to work at Walmart. That's so I don't want to listen to anybody. And the Army's very easy. It's so easy.
Well,
They
it
have
is easy.
manuals on how to be successful. Like it's all written down. If who was it? I keep forgetting to look this up, but is it 7-8? No, that's not it. What's the one with the Army career progression? But
Yeah.
it's in a fucking
Yes.
manual what you need to do to get promoted and shit in there. And yeah, there's some varying things with SF that's changed over the years, but go get static line jump master and go to a couple of these other schools. You'll probably be fine. Fix your NCOERs and you'll be good. But it's so easy. It's so easy to just show up and be successful. You go to PT. Are you kind of smart? Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Absolutely fine. And then that ends. And mm, not so easy. Not so easy on this side because there's nobody telling you what to do. You have to listen to you. And I'm a fucking idiot, right? Like, why am I in charge? I gave the charge to somebody else years ago for them to be in charge. Now I'm back in charge. This ain't gonna work. Uh, this ain't gonna work at all. And now you got to make decisions, motivate yourself. I gotta come up with what I gotta do, and I gotta go do it. So now you gotta convince yourself to do these things that you don't want to do. And okay, if I don't want to do that, what do I want to do? And that's what I'm having the hardest time with is I don't want to listen to anybody ever again at all on it for any reason. Man, that's tough to do. That's your end state. That's difficult to do. You're going to have to work, Nick. You're going to have to sacrifice some stuff. You're going to have to go live in your truck and make up a fucking section of content. Okay, well, let's go do that. Let's do that. And if I lose everything, that's fine too. Even that. When I die, I'm not going to have anything. I'm alive. I'm not happy. So is that any better than just not having anything? Probably not. Comfort, terrible. When in your life do you think back when you were comfortable and happy ever?
When I was on the teams, I mean, like you said, it was 27 years was easy to me because it was easy. You just get up, PT, they give you time for breakfast, you go do your training, you know, you're with the boys, the day's over, you go home, rinse and repeat, you got deployments. I mean, people are like, oh, deployments are hard. Man, yeah, people shooting at you is not the hard part. You're there with your brothers, you're having a good time. It was just the highlight of the war was just so much fun. It was the autonomy, the Wild Wild West. You got to do what you wanted. You're going on trips, You had endless money. There was missions. There was a purpose, you know. Like you said, that's the problem.
Purpose.
People get out. You have no purpose. It's hard. Like today, like days, regular days. I gotta motivate myself to work out, get to work on time and do work. No one's there. They don't give a shit. The civilian world don't give a shit about you. If you work out or not, you're fat or not, you're still gonna get a paycheck. The bad guy doesn't give a shit if you're fatter or not. He's gonna be working out, so it doesn't matter. But in the teams, if you don't work out, your teammate's gonna tell you, man. He's the real truth teller. He's like, dude, we need to work out. We need to do this. You want to go to this school, get motivated, do it. But you're gonna do it. There's consequences. Like you said, there's a manual. How do I get to your rank? Here's the book. Here's what you need to do. Okay, here's college. The military pays for your college. Like you said, you get out in the civilian world, there ain't nobody. It's just you. Like my wife said it the best. She was in the reserve. They do trips, you know? They're there doing trips, but they have their civilian jobs, but they did trips, so they come back. The reserve doesn't care about you when you come back. She had soldiers just go off Middle Tennessee and nowhere. No one's checking on them. You know, they're just out there, but they had a purpose. They came back to their shitty job at Walmart or whatever job you have. Nobody cares about you until the drill time, or if they don't show up at drill, why did they show up? I don't know. We'll just kick them out. I mean, she was really good. She would call and she would drive to their house. Hey, you staying in the reserve? Like the other people, you can do that? Yeah, you can do that. But again, once you're done with this service, nobody cares. Nobody's calling to check on me. I mean, I talk to Alex all the time. I talk to different team guys. It's hard because I'm in Texas and around the world. But that's the difference. The highlight to me was just you're there. You had a purpose. You had teammates that had the same mentality. You know, you, you didn't have to really think about stuff. You just were given stuff, kind of. I guess, like you said, in SF we were spoiled, but it was a good time.
It's it's how hard you want to work. If you work is like hard work. Is it one of the easiest things to do? Going to the gym and putting in a hard workout is so easy. So easy to do. Like just working yourself. Okay, I want to do this. Very easy. What do I got to do? I just got to work hard. And you'll pass barriers, you'll overcome lack of intelligence, lack of skill, lack of talent. You can overcome almost anything by just working hard. Anything. And then that goes away. Like especially in special forces, like the harder you work, you will be successful. And that hard, difficult task becomes easy. And the way. And in it's like a paradox sort of thing. The difficult thing becomes the easy thing. And then when the difficult thing goes away, well, I don't want to do the easy thing. I don't want, that's stupid. Why would I do that? And then you just do nothing at all. And then you get depressed or bored or complacent or comfortable, upset with yourself. You're like, well, now I'm doing nothing. Well, now I'm in a slump. Now I'm in a habit of doing nothing. Drinking, that gets out of control real quick. And intrusive thoughts or self putting yourself down and things like that. That's also not healthy as well. So that time is easy and it goes by like so fast because you showed up to group and everything was at light speed and it still was happening when you left. It was just things were moving pretty fast, a little slower, not at light speed. But that time, that 20, you said 18, 17 years at group, that must have gone by so fast. Because you didn't PCS one time, did you?
No, I just went down the road. I mean, I went to SWIC, came back, went to SWIC, you know, no, I mean, everybody every time I went to group, back to group, there was people, and I was looking forward to going back to group. Like I said, taking the team, and like you said, we're still doing combat. It wasn't as much, but no, it was there and it was gone. Like you said, and people get comfortable and then they go down the rabbit hole, and I think that's the problem at the end. But no, group life then it was awesome. I mean, there was stuff going down all the time. Like you said, if you were motivated at that time, it, everything was there, you know. Like in Scarface's face said, I mean, the world was yours back then, you know. Whatever that team, I mean, teams were competing for missions and different stuff, but there was always other ones if you didn't get it, you know. Like even at the end, we got to go to Kyrgyzstan because when I started, they were doing still JSET, CNTs, and all those missions and stuff. But then we're just doing straight combat. Then at the end, we got to go to Kyrgyzstan, and that was still a blast, you know. You're over there training a foreign force, doing stuff, you know. We still had a young team. The team sergeant left. I got to take the team then, but it was still fun every day, you know. You're over there just training. I mean, we had our own cook there. We had our own, like, because they didn't want us to drive, so we had like a chauffeur, kind of a limo service that drove us around to the range because they didn't want us driving. You know, if people are flying into Manus doing the Manus tent stuff, and we're out there living, just driving around. They even changed the hours of when we ate, because I had to do the budget and we had to get a cook, and then she bought us the food and was cooking us. But then the regular conscript soldiers would come in with just their little bowl and eat. And they're like, yeah, you guys got to eat it other time because they're watching us eat. Like, man, what the heck? But you're training them and shooting and just, you come over with all this ammo and you got to shoot it all. If not, you got to bring it back. But there was the budget then. Like Alex said, we got to train up with the mountain team. We were teaching them rappelling. So we went out in Kyrgyzstan. We found a little repelling area and we were just repelling. just basically kind of a vacation, just teaching these people to repel. We taught them at their things, did a little bit of shoot house. We didn't do a lot because we weren't a direct action team. The other teams had the mission teaching their forces, their police force, but
Did you
times were
ever stop
good.
and look around and appreciate what you were doing? Or was it going by too fast to do that?
No, appreciate it. It was a good time. Just to
Good.
be able to do one because, like I said, CNTs and J sets weren't coming around that a lot. Teams were getting them here and there, but you're just getting stuck to doing rotations. And it was always accomplishment back then. If you did a CNT or J set and then they requested that team by name, you did a good job. There's only a couple teams in groups that got called back because they partied too hard or whatnot. So a lot of them would ask for that team back. But they didn't know that teams changed out with leadership and stuff. But again, they requested that. But no, it went by quick, but it was still a good time just to be able to train a partner force, not in a combat, situation. You're training people in Afghanistan, but it's more of a stressful than a CNT or J set. Like I say, we get up, we got breakfast, get our shit together, load it up. They drive us out to the range, train them, come back. That night, you go out to the clubs or whatnot, have dinner. No one's shooting at you per se, except the idiots. I mean, we had one instance on the range where we're given the brief, the Bravo's given the brief, and they're all supposed to have their finger off the trigger, and then one of the guys just shoots around into the ground by my foot.
Is that bad? That sounds bad.
It's bad for him because the whole rest of the time he's carrying a stick around. But it's still
Uh,
surreal, as in their commander comes up to you, can he have his weapon back? Not until I leave, sir. That dude's done. He's not worthy. He's not smart enough to have a gun. He almost shot me and a couple of my guys. So he can go out to the training, but he will not train anymore. You know. But
have his gun back. No.
in the American, like in the American army, you can't really do that. You get in trouble. Well, he should still get the train. No, he don't. You know.
You're blank firing it after out. You can have blanks.
Right, but then the regular army, he's got feelings. He should be able to shoot. He didn't mean to shoot you.
Come on. When's the last time you were in the regular army? Like, when is the last time you were in a line unit and you saw any of that? Right.
That was a long time ago. 90.
Yeah, it was pre 9/11.
Right.
So that is one thing I got from this show, right? My whole view of the regular army was the 2 years ish I spent at Fort Sill and on a headquarters company at 2nd Battalion, 18th Field Artillery Regiment, 75th Fires Brigade at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And our higher headquarters was I Corps, I think, or 3 Corps down at Fort Hood. And now it's 1st Infantry Division. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all, right? Fucking staff blows, as it is. And I was a stud in a staff section, S2 at a desk. And my whole perception of the entire regular army was from that stupid fucking desk as a private in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which led me to be very successful because it drove me to do the things that I did. I said, I don't ever want to go back to that. But I bring that up. I say that to you because we talk about these things that we hear secondhand information and things like that of like, but when was the last time you were in a line unit in the regular army and had to deal with soldiers and shit like that?
I know. I got to see because my son was in the reserves, so he did his drills, and I got to see some of that. But it's just like you said, it's just mind blowing because he went to the range once and he came back, and I came over and I was going to go to lunch with him because he was doing his little dream drill and they're doing the ranges at Bragg. And I talked to the first sergeant and they were done. It was lunchtime. And I asked her, so can I take him to lunch? Can we go to lunch? But we're not done today. What do I do with his weapon? Well, someone can watch his weapon. So can he go to lunch? Yes or no? But what do we do with his weapon? Can he turn it in? He's done qualling, right? Yes. So what do you mean what we do with the weapon? But it's his weapon. So nobody can watch it, you know? And I'm yelling at this lady, but I'm trying not to. She's a person and I'm a master sergeant. But again, lady, it's not hard. He gets to go to lunch, take his guns, go to lunch, but you just still the mentality of, well, it's his weapon. We're not done. We got to sit here and but so he can go to lunch. Yes, but he can't leave. I don't know what your question is. Make a decision, lady.
Take the magazine out of the clear the rifle and go to the shopette. No, I can't imagine going to the range with a reserve unit and the scale of what you'd have there. That's a different thing. I can't imagine that.
It's fun.
It was scary enough going to the range in my field artillery unit. That was frightening enough.
No,
I
it's
can't
fun.
imagine that.
My wife invited me out a lot. Like I used to, because I was the sharp person, so I gave her unit sharp classes. And then I went to the range with her once just to help out. It's mind blowing because we love to shoot. They shoot and we're done. They had extra bullets. The guy like did a zero and was going to call. I'm done for the day. And I'm like, what do you mean you're done? But you know, people can't shoot. And I was trying to help a guy once too. I spent all day helping this guy. Well, I couldn't get him to zero, and I'm calling my bro. Was like, hey, what am I doing wrong? Well, it finds out this dude's an alcoholic, right? But he goes to drill
It's
for
not
his 2
funny.
days
That's
to
not funny.
qual, right? And he's trying to be sober. And nobody told me this. This dude couldn't fucking stop shaking or hold anything. So no, he's not going to zero. But no one's telling me this. But again, I'm going to spend all day to help you out because that's what we do, help people and get. But nobody's like, but people are like, well, you still helping this dude. I don't know. Get him zero. And then to find out later, there was no way I was going to get him the zero because he was done, you know?
He
But people
was
just wanted to leave. They don't want to call. They
detoxing.
don't want to shoot. They don't want to do nothing. And there was just ammo everywhere. And they're like, you're taking your off day to help. Yeah. It's what we do in special force. Someone asks for help. I'm going to help. My wife told me to come out and help. You know, I'm at the range having fun. I
And the
got to
wife,
shoot.
well, the wife told the wife, it's not your off day if the wife told you to come out and
Right.
help. You're put your uniform on.
But you know what I'm
Get
saying?
back out
But you're
there.
still helping because you want to help. But yeah. But they couldn't fathom that you love your job that much, you're going to come in. Yeah, we used to love our job. SF back then, people used to love it, you know?
I'm not in the uniform anymore, and I still love it. I'm supposed to be at an SFRE right now, but I can't swing it because I don't have enough money to do that and the project I want to
Right.
do in October. And I'm going down there to work for free. Like I still love it, man. You know, but I don't get to wear the same thing, but I wear my Gucci uniform, and I'd still love to go do the job. I'd go do that for free if I could. That's
But
doing that's awesome.
that was the motivation back then. Like you said, man, it went by quick, but everybody wanted to be there 100%. And then to go units and see people not, but then you still wanted to be there, you know? Like I said, the guy on the patrol with me now who was in the army, he finally got on their horse unit, and that's when he started liking the army. But the army was great as in, you know, your medical was paid for. Your family's medical. I mean, I had 2 of my kids, you know what I paid for both of the kids I had? I think $5, you know?
What a deal.
You know, and I don't even know what maybe something they charge you, but again, like you said, most of the people pay 0. They don't pay any money, you know? All your medicine's paid for. You don't have to worry anything. Your kid breaks his leg, cast paid for. You do it in the regular market right now, shit. You're you're gonna get $5,000 bill.
Well, banks are the number one cause of bankruptcy in America is healthcare. Healthcare costs or medical bills. So that's heartening. Why didn't you make sergeant major?
Well, that's when
Because
they
it just they
changed.
changed that regulation, and
Yeah,
that's what all that fucked you.
the RCP went back down. I think RCP was like 9 years, and I think they moved it to 6 years. So I
It's a
went back.
big swing. That's not like
Yeah,
1 year.
no, it
That's
was
like
3 years.
33%.
So I made
Yeah.
master sergeant, and then I was like, "Okay, so what does that mean for me? I'm in limbo." So I got to finish out 2 or 2 years or whatever, some change to keep the rank and retire, but the RCP was changed, which was weird because RCPs were out, the retention, like, and rank, whatever it's called, was out forever. Like, you had to be an E1 for this amount, E2 was like this many years. I think you had to go from E4 to E5, and I think it was 4 years or less. But when the wars happened, they changed all that. They always had the rules you had to go to PLDC at that time, but all those changed. But once in the wars changed down, and I don't remember which sergeant major who came, decided to move all the retention things down. E9 moved down, E8 moved down, 7, 6 all moved down 3 years or so. But the people in between, we were stuck in limbo. I mean, I just got my master's degree. I just finished that. I was like, man, I'm set doing my master's degree. I worked Robin Sage. I was the operations sergeant for Robin Sage, and then I was the northern team sergeant for Robin Sage. So I was in charge of all 6 teams, not just one little team. So my resume was looking, it was perfect. I had all that, had all my time, my college, all this. I went to Halo School, Jump Master School, you know. So I had all these schools, and I was going to go back, take a team, do that, and then boom, I would have been ready for sergeant major. I was on track. My wife already made sergeant major. She already went to the academy, so we were on track and everything. So I already knew the bit. Yeah, they changed the rules, and I was like, okay, I guess it's retirement time. I mean, luckily, I already got the 150. I already did that a couple of years before.
I was gonna say, isn't that a 6-year commitment?
Sure, there is. They never made people pay stuff back, but again, they changed it. They broke the contract. I
I'm gonna
didn't
edit
break it.
that out. No, gotta edit that out. They'll be in your DFAS tomorrow taking that money.
They broke the contract. You know what I'm saying? Because the contract says I will. They're the ones that changed it. But no, I don't know how long in that 6 because I don't remember when I took the money. But no, I mean, I got it tax free too. That was the cool thing back then too. You can go overseas and do 6 months and get that money tax free.
Yeah, that is one bummer thing is some of the younger guys, not even the younger guys, the senior guys now on the teams, our group is not some group. I'm not going to say which group, but not letting dudes go get the reenlistments overseas for tax free. And like pushing back on that. Not confirmed yet, but that is a bummer if that's true. Because
I mean,
why not? Like, why
it,
not?
it was they were doing it and then they changed it. I mean, you had to be there. Like they were abusing it at one point. Like just went over and came back. Like when I did it, I worked there for 2 or 3 months. I went and did a job and was doing stuff. I didn't just fly in, spend a week, then come back. So a lot of groups were making them do stuff, instead of just doing it. I mean,
No. Oh, how terrible. Oh, you got to work.
yeah,
You got to
but
give me
like
a
you
couple
said,
months of work.
why aren't you going to take care of them? That's a lot of problems that people get thrown with. Just take care of your people. I mean, there's a way, like you said, call somebody up and you got to do 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. Let them do it. You're there to make people happy.
You need an LNL? I got a guy. I know a guy.
Right. That's what I think I was doing the whole time, making storyboards or whatnot.
We're full circle. We're back to the storyboards.
Back to them. They always come up.
They always come back. That Arial 12-point font and the storyboards, and we'll be set. We'll be set. You'll look like you know what you're doing. As long as your property book's squared away and you got the right
Right.
font and in that memo and your storyboard pictures are updated, I mean, Is there anything better for a Charlie than optics than that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I really
But
don't.
make sure you don't have your ball caps or stuff in the pictures anymore.
10th group, I think it was 10th, yesterday posted a picture on Instagram with the guy's face blurred and a ball cap. I went, man, that would have never flown a few
No, they
years
would have
ago.
shit their pants.
Yeah, it's like, tack, good for him, man. That's, cool. That's the goal, is to be doing stuff in the ball cap. So I don't care, but I said, oh, I hope nobody has a hernia over that. Yeah, it's the picture. So somebody probably dropped dead or rolling over in their grave. So what's next, man? You said you got capped out with the border thing, and you're also, you don't really need it. You just kind of want to stay busy with your next thing. Do you have any hobbies? Because you said three gun for a while there, but anything else outside of it, or just
But my
work and hanging out?
my wife just retired, so she did the reserves up until 60. So she tapped out on that. She made CSM, she did till 60, so then she's done. So she wants to travel and do stuff, so that's the next chapter. I'm gonna finish this year out or so because in the horses program, we can only do 5 years, you know? You do 3 years when you sign up, and then you get 2 extensions, so I'm on my last one this year, so I'm gonna ride out just being on the horses because, like I said, there's nothing like it. It's gonna go away, you know? People are getting rid of horses, it's too much liability. The Army just got rid of theirs. The patrol will probably keep them as long as they can, but I don't know. We'll see where that goes, but I wanna spend my last year riding. I just got a newer horse at work that I've been working on, having fun. He's younger and more spunk, so do that, or just depends on how my body feels, and just one day just resign and wanna start traveling and doing stuff, just seeing the country and just, I guess, just living life. I mean, she's got her stuff, and we're just trying to settle all her disability and get her stuff squared away. But I guess just live it out. I mean, I don't know, maybe get a part-time job. I don't know. The hardest part, like I said, when I left the Army is, what's next? What's your purpose? I mean, I think her biggest thing is she doesn't want me just to sit around. Like you said, you get down that rabbit hole of being depressed. What's my purpose? I don't have a big hobby. I have my one horse at home and stuff. I don't know if I want to do cows or different things, but I think it's just this last year, just ride it out and then see where it goes. I mean, you never know what's going to happen the next day.
No, you don't know at all what's going to happen ever. Like, and I think that's kind of fun. You can try and direct, but you don't know what's going to happen. Something will happen, could happen, and policies change, things, views, whatever. It all shift. And uh, as I said, we don't sit at any of those tables, so we don't get the insider information. I don't get the stock picks, so I'm
Right.
not going to get rich on that.
Right.
I just got to make my own luck and go forward
Maybe just
now where I can.
spend a lot of time with the association. I know I was with the chapter 6 in North Carolina, which is a real good SF association chapter. They do a lot of stuff. So I enjoyed being with those guys. I haven't had time to go to the one here, the Alamo chapter. So maybe just do that and just start volunteering, just giving back to the community, back to group.
Well, man, it sounds like. Did you enjoy the career and where it all went? Because obviously it didn't start out that way. And did you get to do everything that you wanted to do? Did you get to do the thing that you set out to do, even if you didn't know what it was at the time?
I would say yes. I mean, like I never knew I was going to be in a Halo team, stuff like some people know their destiny on it, but I got to like a 6 team, but wasn't like the scuba team. It was kind of like the water infield team. But then again, I wasn't really meshing with that team that much. So I stayed the longer in the Afghanistan trip and I got to the Halo team. And I really enjoyed those guys. Roger was on the team. He was my medic. Became really good friends and just enjoyed it. And I got to go to Halo school, but I never never pictured myself ever going to halo school. You know, like growing up, never even thought about skydiving. So, I mean, that was kind of a highlight too. So I'd say yes, you know. I mean, there's always all kinds of different shooting schools. I mean, we went to Rick Griffin Group and different ones, but shooting's shooting. But I guess, you know, I didn't go to scuba school. I love to swim, but just watching scuba tryouts and then people come back and say, yeah, you got to drown. Bill's not really into drowning. So I was like, I don't want to go that route. So,
That's where you're wrong, kiddo. I don't gotta do shit.
you
Uh,
know,
yeah. Respect to the guys on the dive team, but also
yeah,
fuck
no,
that. That's
those
terrible.
dudes are in shape.
Yeah.
But now I enjoyed being on the Halo team 100% more than when I dive team, it's
Well, brother,
nothing like jumping out of a plane. And once you get better, it's a trip to see. Like the starting is jumping and you're like seeing through a straw. You don't see shit. I remember my first jump. I went out, the guy grabbed me and I went out backwards. Once he let go of my harness, I went out. I don't remember anything. You're out in human, and you can see the world. And he's giving me directions, all the hand and arm signals, and he's giving me the directions to stay on heading. But I kept on turning and watching him. And then we get to the ground and he gives me the signals. He's like, what's this mean? I go, that's right turn, left turn, this one. He goes, what's this one? Stay on heading. He's like, so why didn't you go on heading and pull your stuff? And you're looking at me. I was like, because you're my security blanket. That's why I didn't want you to leave. He's like, oh, okay. But at the end of the whole thing, when you jump with the teams and everything opens up and you're linking up and doing all kinds of stuff, it's surreal, going from a first jump of seeing nothing. And now I'm jumping. We did a jump in Afghanistan and doing cool guy stuff with the whole wall locker. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty cool, I guess.
you jumped in Afghanistan, huh?
Yes. So we were training up to do a mission in Afghanistan to jump. So we did it. We'd rung all of our parachutes open. We're in Kandahar. We set it up. We got the Air Force PJs to get us a helicopter, and we jumped out outside the base and landed and did a jump. But then we did the mission setup. They said it was too dangerous for us to jump into any missions. So I got to jump in Afghanistan, not combat, but we jumped. We landed and did it. But no, they wouldn't let us. But no,
Still pretty badass.
yeah,
Still
it's
pretty badass.
So I'm pretty happy with everything I did, and there's always other cool schools, but I don't know. I think I was really blessed to get to go the path I got to.
Fuck yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I got 5 questions that I ask everybody, and then I'll cut you loose, and we'll hope maybe we'll pick it back up in Texas next month. We'll see. But and what's your response to thank you for your service?
So me and my wife have always talked about this, and to me, did I serve and do a lot of stuff? To me, the people that served is like the World War II people in them. They were in some hard conditions, so usually just thank you and stuff, but I try to be more humble. I don't think I did that much. But again, I think the people that did Vietnam and World War II, those guys really had it tough.
Tough is if you were born back then, you would have had it tough. If you're born now, you have it tough. Born 500 years ago, you had it tough. It's all relative.
Yeah, it's all
Um,
it's all relative to your perspective of what you think hard is. I think that's hard. Like you said, you're in World War II. You don't have the equipment and stuff you're doing, but like you said, people nowadays bitch I don't have body armor. Well, we started out with flak vests and then went to body armor, so I don't and now you
right.
have all this cool
And
cameras and shit that you wear on your helmet that tell you what to do.
tell you what to do. Yeah, the guys and other guys have said, yeah, I don't know if I could do it today with all the, technology and shit. I said, that's bullshit. The people that were successful in the 70s are the same type of people in the 80s and 90s. It's just, they grew up different. The people that are going to pass no matter what. They'll find a way to do it. And it's all relative to when you were born. So, um, I never heard that answer before, so that's a new one. Yeah, passing it off to the older generation. All right. What is the one characteristic that sets operators apart from the conventional forces?
I think it's just their intestinal fortitude. I mean, the no quit attitude. They're gonna find a way to finish the mission. You always hear like, "Oh, you got it done." Yeah, I got it done. Doesn't mean it was up to standard. We're gonna get it done. There's better ways to do it, but I think it's just that intestinal fortitude and that drive. That they're not gonna quit. I mean, it's easy to quit, but I like the guy that's gonna that work through it and figure it out. You know,
What is the one moment of your career you wish you could go back and relive or redo and it wouldn't change where you are now?
so I want to go back to like what Jeremiah and the other guys say that there's nothing. I mean, it's like Bruce Lee and them say, you throw a pebble in the pond, there's ripples. It's just gonna keep going. But how am I gonna know if there's a ripple? I throw it in there and I throw another pebble in there and I got two ripples. It's gonna change the trajectory. I'd rather just stay on the path that I was. I mean, God had a purpose of what I did, but I can't go back and change one minute thing. Well, those ripples just got changed. How are you gonna know where I was now? It's just gonna change. And my son asked me once, and I'm like, life is what it is. I did what I did, and it shaped me, and I went on. So I wouldn't change anything.
What's the best piece of advice that you received during your career?
It would have to be from the old Delta Sergeant Major that when you leave the service, you're just Bill. You gotta be with it, and I do that a lot. I recall when I get mad at situations that, yeah, this is not group, and I'm just Bill. I gotta be who I am, you know. Because if not, like you said, you'll get drove crazy. You'll drink, and shit's all fucked up. I mean, I had another sergeant major, the same one that Alex talked about, Bobby. He said the same thing. You just can't. You can't dwell on stuff. You just got to be who you are. You know.
What were you afraid of then? And what are you afraid of now?
Just letting people down, family, the team, it's hard to let go of things, you know. I learned, like I said, with the guys when we're chasing a group, they don't know when to give up. At least I know, but it's still hard. It's hard to give up. You don't want to let people down. Like the whole time going through the academy, I know old timers that worked with an old Robin Stage. I didn't want to fail the course because I'm letting them down. So I always carry that weight on me that what is it going to look like if I do something wrong? They're going to know I'm a Green Beret, and I don't want to let down the people before me. So failure is a hard thing for me to admit.
Yeah. Um, we'll talk about another little one after I stop recording here. Brother, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate Alex sending you my way. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope you had a good time as well. Just talking to me. I assume you didn't take off work today. This is your off day, right?
I had an appointment today because my testosterone was not to where it's supposed to be, so I had to get an MRI and to figure out what's going on.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I hope you're okay.
Ah, it is what
No,
it
I was
is.
sitting here. I was like, why is he not out in the desert chasing bad guys? No, or people that are trying to enter illegally. I don't know if they're bad. Whatever. That's for somebody else to determine. All right, brother. I appreciate you coming on. You got anything for me? Yeah, man. All right. Well, bye, everybody.